Life is fast, but you want to be faster. You want to get to places. You want to become someone. You want to hustle. But sometimes in that hustle, you can often end up ignoring your health. That's not good. Most of my hustler friends, they're all unhealthy. They miss their daily protein goals. They usually have muscle loss, fatigue, and weak immunity. And generally, they're either unfocused or always in a bad mood. And if this goes on for long, their low protein levels lead to brittle nails and hair loss. It's really bad. But our partner for this episode wants to change this. Introducing Muscle Blaze Biozyme Whey Protein. You know, I had some of the same problems as my friends. Despite working out, I would feel tired and weak all day. It's only after I began taking 2 scoops of protein per day did I begin to feel better. Muscle Blaze Biozyme Whey Protein offers a complete amino acid profile, and each scoop delivers 25 to 27 grams of protein. You take 2 scoops and that's 50% of your protein requirement covered. Muscle Blaze Biozyme is also patent published in the USA. It's also the only internationally certified whey protein brand in Asia clinically tested to offer 50% higher protein absorption. My friends, it's time to take your health seriously. Use the code Dostcast on muscleblaze.com or the Muscle Blaze app for exclusive discounts. The link is in the description.
अगर आप गोदना राइट्स के बारे में भी जाके देखेंगे ऑनलाइन तो इतने डिफरिंग व्यूज हैं कि आपको समझ ही नहीं आएगा कि एक्चुअली में क्या हुआ था. सो देन आई वाज लाइक आई वांट टू बी एबल टू टेल दिस स्टोरी एज एन एक्टर.
अलग-अलग व्यू पॉइंट्स थे टू एन एक्सटेंट कि 4-5 साल तक लोगों को पता ही नहीं था. व्हाट द फिल्म एक्चुअली टॉक्स अबाउट इज
Were they suppressing the story?
Were they fudging the facts? How they were fudging? Why they were fudging? What was the ulterior motive?
Were you also reading media accounts of what happened? Did you speak with reporters, journalists to understand कि वो लोग सोचते कैसे हैं? Maybe go against the entire establishment when they're trying to establish कि हम सही बोल रहे हैं और हमारे साथ अन्याय हो रहा है?
देश की जनता सच जानने के लिए मीडिया की ओर देखती है और मीडिया जनता को सच दिखाने से पहले अपने ऊपर बैठे मालिकों को देखती है. बट मुझे ज्यादा किक उस चीज से मिलती है कि थैंक यू फॉर मेकिंग अ फिल्म लाइक 12th Fail.
बट यू रियलाइज हाउ insignificant you are in the universe और हम क्या सोचते हैं हम क्या तोप हैं हम कुछ नहीं. The idea is to live your life in the most peaceful and happy way.
In the context of time, try being the brightest blip in the history of the universe. Of course, I want to be a good actor. I want to be an actor people want to work with. I want to be an actor people would love to see. But my main role in life is
First of all, thank you so much. You guys are very cool, very accessible, and glad to meet your posse, which has come outside. मैंने एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था कि ये अपार्टमेंट ऐसे खिल जाएगा इतने करोड़ों लोगों के साथ.
hey, sweet.
I was trying to do my journaling, and then people just kept coming in. I realized that, man, like fame is it's a real thing, no? It's so different than what influencers think of fame as. Fame is a real thing. It's a whole industry. मतलब makeup, light, chaka chond. You guys are used to it.
Yeah.
I am not as much as she is. She is extremely popular. मतलब I'm nowhere close to her.
अरे यार विक्रांत.
She is a superstar.
No.
Especially down south. तो popularity क्या है, fame क्या है? I think she is better equipped than I am to answer on that.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है तुम्हारे भी बहुत फैन है.
Fans तो हैं, मतलब I'm not denying that. But जो fame होता है, जो आप कह रहे हो, what I'm understanding, fame क्या होता है वो and especially down south यार उसका तो कोई comparison है नहीं.
No, I was never comfortable with fame when initially I got famous.
And yet you are famous.
Yeah.
Extremely famous.
Now,
मैं आपको बताता हूँ ये there are videos which I think you can sort of plug in at the edit.
Yeah.
Online बहुत आसानी से मिल जाएंगे. ये सिर्फ ऐसे करती हैं ना खड़े होके वहाँ 50,000 लोग आ जाते हैं देखने के लिए.
ऐसा कुछ
We were at IIT Bombay last evening.
Yeah.
And you had to see the response. वहाँ पे कॉन्सर्ट चल रहा था उसके बीच में हमारा प्रमोशनल एक्टिविटी प्लग इन हुआ एंड देन द कॉन्सर्ट रिज्यूम्ड आफ्टर वी स्टेप्ड ऑफ द स्टेज. A quarter of the audience left the concert just to come and have a glimpse at her. I mean, it's phenomenal. ये खुद ही बोलो ना तुम.
मैं नहीं बोल रही कुछ भी. I mean, it's very overwhelming. Just
After so many years, because you've done a sole total of 50 projects as per ChatGPT,
Yeah,
and you've done a sole total of 30 projects as per ChatGPT. So you're not settled in the idea of fame. Kept up there, chaka chond.
No, yeah, I'll tell you something. When I'm in the southern states, it's because I've worked there a lot. Like I've done a chunk of my films are from there. वहाँ पे जब लोग आते हैं ऑटोग्राफ लेते हैं या मेरा नाम पुकारते हैं चिल्लाते हैं तो मुझे उसकी आदत है. बट मुझे नॉर्थ में बिल्कुल आदत नहीं है. You know, because I'm just like a film 2 films old, Madras Cafe, Yodha and Farzi had come. तो मुझे पता नहीं है कि कितनी रीच है इधर. So for me also it was very overwhelming, especially at IIT, because I was like, they are screaming my name and I'm like, arey, like, I mean, it was a revelation to me that okay, there are people here also who, and I mean it in the most honest way, that I wasn't expecting the kind of response I got. So it is overwhelming for me because I feel like a newcomer literally again in the Hindi film industry.
Very interesting. I asked this because, there's this woman called Whitney Yuland. Recently, a lot of people are now trying to get famous through the non-Bollywood route. And she's a fame coach. So मैंने randomly उसको Instagram पे discover करा, and I was like, this is very interesting. So she says that, जो लोग अच्छे होते हैं दिल से, उनके लिए famous होना मुश्किल होता है because they think more, they're more overthinking. She's like, with the resource of fame requires कि आप completely 100% authentic रहो, and you're okay with being seen by millions, right? For both of you, you started in TV. That resource of fame, has it come gradually after projects, or did you instantly know कि हाँ यार, fame is what I'm after, fame तो मुझे मिल ही जाएगा?
I don't think as actors we look for fame at all. Sorry.
I mean, what you're saying is almost true in my case also. So
I don't
So
think
you don't look for glory. You don't want your name to be known across
See,
the country.
glory and fame are two very different things.
Yeah.
I certainly am looking for glory. But glory need not necessarily be fame at that point in time. Now, to sort of put it in simple words, of course, I want my films to have a certain sense of an archival value. I want people to cry when I want them to cry, or respond the way I want them to respond through the stories that I say. But currently, the peripherals are almost daunting. I don't know how to put it the right way. I mean, I'll actually complete the first thing that I was talking about. I'm looking for glory. I am looking for an archival value for my films, for my performances. I want people to look back in hindsight, or even sort of, because that is the nature of how things are, posthumously probably, to look back and say, oh my God, good guy, good actor. Good films.
2050 में मूवी आए तो they can say कि 2024 के आर्काइव में
है,
ये
मतलब कुछ फिल्में हैं मेरी. But the peripherals currently, especially in the last 5-7 years, are so daunting. Like, घर से निकलते ही, there are paparazzis, आप एयरपोर्ट पे जा रहे हैं, आपको वहाँ क्लिक कर रहे हैं. And also the business side of things have started taking these things very seriously.
Do you guys get, like, serious question? Yeah, insan, like, very small spectrum. When my podcast started getting recognized, मैं दिल्ली में कहीं ब्लूटूथ पे बैठ के अपना काम कर रहा होता था, कोई आके हेलो करता था, मैंने कहा, ओह, मेरी privacy invade हो रही है. Gradually I got used to it. I'm so privileged that people recognize me. But are there any downsides to this? Do you see, जैसे किसी आप रूम में जाते हो और आपको नहीं पहचानता, लगता है अरे यार.
See, it depends on whether you're looking for fame and that's what you've always looked for, or you want to be good at your craft. I think both of us, I can say this for both of us, we are more actors and we look to develop our craft more rather than अरे मैं इस चीज़ से कितना famous होऊंगा या होंगी. That's not the idea. Fame is a byproduct of what we do. It's not what we are looking for. Because आजकल तो fame मिलना बहुत आसान है.
अच्छा?
हाँ, आप Instagram पे कुछ भी ऐसा कुछ viral डाल सकते हो, आप famous हो जाओगे. It's not difficult at all. If you talk about 10 years ago, it was difficult. But now it's not. Now it's very accessible. Fame is very easy to get. But that respect as an actor is very difficult to get. That is what we strive for. That is what we work for. And I think that's why he says it's glory. Because,
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. And also, now I think I've found the right answer to the question. वो ये है कि जो kick शायद किसी को fame से मिलती है, वो किक मुझे क्वालिटी से मिलती है. कि मुझे ज़्यादा लोग जानते हैं. Of course, it's a wonderful feeling when people want to when people come up to you, or at the cost of sounding pompous. What really gives me that kick is when people tell me, thank you for the work you do. Or we just love the work you do. Rather than saying कि आपकी body इतनी अच्छी है, which is not bad. I mean, to each their own.
Right.
But मुझे ज़्यादा kick उस चीज़ से मिलती है कि thank you for making a film like 12th Fail.
Right.
Or, thank you for your work. if you actually see, nobody needs to thank me, because yes, cinema is an influential medium, it's always been, it will always be so, but कोई मुझे आके thank you बोलता है कि you inspired us through your movies, or you're the kind of actor we want to sort of shed our time for, वो मुझे ज़्यादा किक देता है rather than the fact कि मैं famous हूँ. I love clicking pictures, I love interacting with people, but also I'm borderline introvertish. तो क्या है कि there are days when I go to a restaurant wanting to sit by myself, facing the wall and enjoying my meal. कई बार वो नहीं हो पाता. तो कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि यार इतनी बेसिक सिविक सेंस तो होनी चाहिए कि आदमी खाना खा रहा है, मुंह में निवाला है, एंड यू एक्चुअली हैव टू टेल देम, मेरे हाथ गंदे हैं, मेरे मुंह में निवाला है, क्या हम थोड़ी देर रुक सकते हैं? तो इट्स, आई डोंट नो, आई एम स्टिल फिगरिंग इट आउट माई सेल्फ. इवन आफ्टर 20 years I don't know. I love being famous, but also at the same time I don't. I want to take that metro from Warsaw to Ghatkopar.
I was going to ask you that. If normal civic activities are...
Like yesterday I was telling my team, क्योंकि travel बहुत ज़्यादा था, मैंने कहा अरे ट्रेन में चलते हैं. They're like, तुम ट्रेन में जाओगी? तो I said, but what's the problem? I'll just wear a mask and probably like a cap and we'll... Yesterday he traveled an auto. Because he said, अरे मेरी गाड़ी का वो फट गया तो I'm just going to take
मेरी गाड़ी का टायर फट गया रात को.
ये करता है बहुत ही, ऑटो में ट्रैवल करता है.
पंचर हो गया एंड वी वर इन साकीनाका, एंड द फर्स्ट थॉट दैट केम टू माय माइंड वाज कि मेट्रो लेके वर्सोवा जाएंगे, मतलब 10 मिनट में पहुंच जाएंगे, बट मेट्रो बंद हो गई थी. तो द नेक्स्ट कंड्यूसिव वे वाज टू टेक एन ऑटो. तो वो चीज़ है ना, वो
they give you a sense of normalcy and that you're a normal, because I think both of us think we're very normal people. वो जब हम लोगों के बीच में आते हैं तो समझ आती है अच्छा we've achieved something probably to get their love, but I think we're very normal in the way we live.
What about persona fatigue? मतलब आप किसके साथ रियल रह सकते हो, किसके साथ नहीं रह सकते? आपसे आपकी इंडस्ट्री के पेरिफेरल एडजेसेंट इंडस्ट्रीज के हज़ारों लोग आके डेली मिल रहे हैं, कितने लोगों के हाथ मिला रहे हो, कितने लोगों से मिल रहे हो, हर रोज़ स्माइल भी कर रहे हो.
मैं तो बहुत रियल हूँ भाई. Like I'm as real as real gets. There is no fake. You will never see me being fake.
No, but like I'm sure like at some point you want to sort of go home and sort of be real for a sec कि यार इतने, what I'm saying is आप इतने सारे लोगों से मिल रहे हो, आप how can you be authentic and real all the time?
But why can't
eventually,
you?
like you have to sort of build something on the outside to...
No,
what probably is, and persona fatigue is the right word, because you're out there, you have to be a certain way. Of course we try to be close to what we naturally are, but also there are certain engagements and commitments which require us to sort of step outside our so-called comfort zone, जो I think हम सभी करते हैं कभी ना.
नहीं यार, I think I'm the same person as I am at home that I am outside. It's not like I have to be a certain persona which I'm not at home. Like I'm the same.
I'm sure. See, I know her personally, and she's one of my close friends in life, I can say. कोशिश यही रहती है कि जैसे हैं वैसे रहें, बट मेरा थोड़ा सा अलग है, because I know it for a fact कि when I'm on a shooting set, for example, when अभी yesterday we were promoting, we'd gone to a TV show, and because I come from television background, I met a lot of my old colleagues जिनके साथ मैंने काम किया. The way they see me today is very different. They are proud of me. सब अच्छा ही है. And the entire unit, comprising of say 80 to 100 people wanted to come and click pictures with me. After 30-40 pictures, fatigue आ जाता है. But then that thing that knocks your head is कि you know what, you want this. All they want is that one picture. They'll go back home, show it to their families. It is that uptick in their day. So no matter how tired you are, 10 मिनट खड़े होकर तस्वीर खिंचाने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी. तो अगर वो persona fatigue है तो वो रियल है, वो होता है. Also one thing which probably, and again if I may speak for the both of us, because we come from very regular middle class families, nuclear families.
A small town in Maharashtra and you're from Delhi.
I'm from Delhi.
I am not from a small town in Maharashtra.
हे भगवान, ये
विकिपीडिया पे आधी चीजें
बॉम्बे में
coming. This is a good
आपकी उम्र भी 37 नहीं है फिर?
नहीं, मेरी उम्र 37 है. मैं नागपुर का नहीं हूँ.
अच्छा, इधर से नागपुर समाज.
अच्छा, इनफैक्ट अभी थोड़े दिन पहले मुझे किसी ने तस्वीर भेजी विकिपीडिया पे, किसी और की तस्वीर है मेरे नाम के नीचे.
Oh my God.
ठीक है. तो
sorry, just a sec. You're from LSR.
I'm from
Delhi.
Yeah.
I'm from Mumbai. Born and raised in Mumbai.
This city.
This city.
Okay.
And second generation Mumbaikar.
Okay.
My parents are also, my father was born in Shimla, but migrated to Mumbai when he was 4 months old. My mother was born in Mumbai. I was born in Mumbai. Come from a nuclear family, have an older brother. तो second generation Mumbaikar, तो small town तो बिल्कुल नहीं है. Yeah, I mean, that's about it.
Okay. Listen, मेरे लिए बड़ी मज़ेदार opportunity that I get to speak to you and you are so open, both of you. I have seen many of your interviews. So I have a few questions about, you know, being someone who's an actor. And then we would talk about the film, of course.
Of course.
Something that I have observed at least कि आप जब भी थोड़ी material success हासिल करते हो तो बहुत सारे लोग आपके पास प्रस्ताव लेके आते हैं. You know, I call this कि एक some smooth talker will come to you and say मैं तुझे स्टार बना दूंगा, ऐसे दिखाते हैं. And at some point it's very hard to discern what meetings to take and what meetings to not take. That sense of navigating an industry where people are coming to you with, it's not like you're drowning in a lack, you're drowning in opportunities, I'm assuming, right? Which is why you are, you know, doing this film और आपको फिल्में मिलती जा रही हैं. How do you discern कि कौन बंदा social climber है, कौन बंदा मेरा इस्तेमाल करना चाहता है और कौन बंदा मेरा time waste करेगा? What are some defenses or some strategies that you've built to?
I think that's why we have our managers who are sort of like our filters. They do tell us that this person wants to meet you, but this is what we think, what you take a call. And I think I am a spiritual person. So I gauge very easily कि, you know, सामने वाले की नीयत क्या है. So it's not very difficult to understand if the person's a smooth talker or they actually mean business. It's never been a problem for me to demarcate between.
But is it difficult to set personal boundaries when something
I think
like
my
this happens?
aura is such that when I'm in a workspace, it automatically becomes very professional. I'm not here to make friends. Like I'm very clear about it. Sorry, मेरा mic गिर गया.
That's okay. आप उसको
बोल दूं.
आप उसको बाहर ही लगा
की
लो.
तरफ
That's
ही लगा
okay.
लो, जैसे
Yeah.
normally
Just
लगाते
remove the magnet. You
अच्छा,
don't need the
okay,
magnet.
okay.
You can just put it
I'll just
outside.
put it.
Yeah. Works. Sick.
हाँ. So I've always maintained that I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to work.
Oh shit. Bad news, guys.
क्या हुआ? नहीं, but I'll tell you this, that with Vikrant it was different. I never go with that intention कि अरे दोस्त बनाएंगे, you know, this ये मिलेंगे और वो क्या बोलते हैं connective, क्या बोलते हैं ये हमारी इंडस्ट्री में?
Networking.
Networking.
हम networking करेंगे. तो I've never been like that.
Yeah.
I do my job, I go back home, and I love it because I have my own friends, I have my own family, and it's not like I'm anti making friends, but I just feel like this is a professional space
Yeah.
where I would want to just, you know, collaborate with really good actors and go back home. With him, it was different because he's just very similar to who I am as a person. And we've worked on 2 films together now. The other one is Talakho Mein, which will come next year. So I can say that he's also my friend. Apart from Vani Kapoor, she's my soul sister. And I've known her since I was
Don't
19.
mind that. It's not going to be on the mic.
Okay.
हाँ, मुझे चिंता ऐसी बात
मेरे
नहीं
को भी
है
यही
कि
थी.
वो आएगा नहीं ना. चलो
They're
lovely.
they're dynamic mics. जो यहाँ पे बात हो रही है वही आएगी बस.
So yeah, coming back to whether when I meet these people, I think they understand that it's a very professional meeting, that they cannot go beyond a certain boundary. They cannot. Like they'll just gauge me and they'll just understand that this is serious business. With me at least it's like that. How's it with you? He's more friendly, but he's more...
हाँ, I like interacting with people. मुझे अच्छा लगता है. In fact, I love interacting with strangers because I also journal. And in hindsight, I think some of the best conversations I've had are with absolute strangers.
No agenda.
No agenda. You're sitting at a bar table and you're 2 drinks down and somebody comes and sits next to you and you probably have had some of the best conversations in life with those people. I think पता चल जाता है यार. I mean, मेरे केस में managers या advisors or even my immediate family are secondary. When it comes to sort of course advice लेते हैं सबसे, especially immediate family से तो लेते ही हैं. Manager सिर्फ एक term है. जो मेरा so called manager है वो मेरा भाई है. We've been together like for years now. But खुद की एक gauging capacity होती है जो राशि भी कह रही हैं कि वो आप गेज कर लेते हो कि किसका मोटिव क्या है आपके साथ. और वो पता चल जाता है यार. I mean, इतना देख लिया है, इतना समझ लिया है और इतने एक्सपीरियंसेस हो चुके हैं जीवन में, तो पता चल जाता है कि कौन स्मूथ टॉकर है, कौन जेन्युइन वेल विशर है, कौन आपसे कुछ निकलवा, अल्टीरियर मोटिव्स आपको बहुत फटाफट, एंड द ब्रेन इज सच एन इनक्रेडिबल थिंग ना, वो ऑटोमेटिकली ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम अपने आप ऑटो फिल्टर कर ही देता है, वो इट कम्स स्ट्रेट टू द पॉइंट. मतलब इट्स दैट ओनली कि अगर मुझे ये टेबल लगी है पैर पे, तो अगली बार जब आप जाओगे तो आपका ब्रेन ऑटोमेटिकली फिल्टर कर लेगा और आप अपने आप पैर हटा दोगे. वो नॉन कॉन्शियसली आप करोगे, आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा.
How do you not become paranoid then about trusting people if the average person is out there to get you?
I don't trust them.
You don't trust them?
I don't. See, I don't. I think trust is a very personal. I think it's a very personal emotion where I only trust people I love, and I don't trust anybody else because anybody can.
Sorry, अगर आप उनको पहले प्यार करोगे फिर ट्रस्ट करोगे, I don't understand.
Now I'm talking about my friends and family who
Okay.
I love without any agenda, right?
Right.
Like I trust them for everything. बाहर के लोगों पे भरोसा जल्दी नहीं होता है. I think it's a universal thing. I don't think people trust people very easily because आजकल सबके agendas होते हैं ना. तो I don't trust anybody and I get it. Like I understand where they come from. But I don't like people when they are fake or they try to smooth talk when they have agendas.
Yeah, I noticed this because मैं कभी I'll go to these some parties in Delhi and Mumbai, और मेरी दादी हिंदी की टीचर थी, रिटायर्ड. हमारे घर पे बहुत तरह के डायलेक्ट्स बोलते हैं हिंदी के, बहुत अच्छी स्ट्रॉन्ग अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ लैंग्वेज. और मेरे पापा यूपी के एक गांव से हैं, तो हमने वो वाली दुनिया भी देखी है, 5 स्टार की चकाचौंध, बाहर बॉस्टन मूवी देखा है. समटाइम्स व्हाट आई डू इज आई डेलिबरेटली गो एंड स्पीक इन द मोस्ट क्रास हिंदी पॉसिबल, जिससे कि लोग गेज करते हैं कि ये डाउन मार्केट है या अप मार्केट है, ये लोअर क्लास है. क्योंकि इंडिया में करते हैं लोग ऐसा कि इंग्लिश आपकी एक गेटवे होती है एक हायर सोसाइटी के अंदर. तो मैं ऐसे बात करता हूँ, सो मोस्टली पीपल आर टर्न्ड ऑफ एंड देन इमीडिएटली आई स्विच टू इंग्लिश एंड ऑफ कोर्स आई कैन स्पीक वेरी वेल, सो दे आर कंफ्यूज्ड वेयर टू प्लेस मी. And that in that precise tension, I can notice who completely judges on language. And that beautiful segue I've designed this conversation is because your film is about.
मेरे दिमाग में वही चल रहा था. मेरे दिमाग में यही चल रहा था कि एक लैंग्वेज की वजह से कैसे सोसाइटी जज करती है. I will come back to the film. Unfortunately, that is how it is. I don't know how it was before I came into existence, but ऐसा पढ़ के और समझ के लगता है कि it has always been, unfortunately. आज अगर आप किसी बड़े शहर के एलिवेटर में अगर आप जाते हैं, you know, तो कोई स्ट्रेंजर अगर आपके साथ होता है तो सबसे पहले आप एक दूसरे को ना उसी ब्रीफ 15 सेकंड में गेज कर लेते हैं, हाथ में फ़ोन कौन सा है, जूते कौन से पहने हैं, अच्छा जर्सी कौन सी पहनी है, ओके. वो आपका फिल्टरेशन अपने आप शुरू हो जाता है. ऑल ऑफ अस डू दैट. कहीं ना कहीं हम खुद भी करते हैं. बट कमिंग बैक टू लैंग्वेज एंड हाउ पीपल जज यू थ्रू लैंग्वेज, अनफॉर्चुनेटली वो सच है. और मुझे मतलब ये मैं सिर्फ फिल्म के लिए नहीं कह रहा हूँ, मैं मुंबई का रहने वाला हूँ, पर अंग्रेज़ी जो है ना वो कॉलेज में आके सीखी है. आई कम फ्रॉम अ वेरी रेगुलर मिडिल क्लास फैमिली जहाँ पे माई मदर कुड, ऑफ कोर्स माई फादर ऑल्सो could not speak fluent English say till much later in his life.
आप मराठी और हिंदी बोलते थे घर पे?
हिंदी बोलते थे. हिंदी इंग्लिश भी बोलते थे, पंजाबी बोलते थे, बिकॉज माई मदर इज़ अ सिखनी. तो उन्होंने बचपन से ही पंजाबी में बच्चों से बात करनी शुरू की. हिंदी हम बोलते थे. पर वो लैंग्वेज का है वो अनफॉर्चुनेटली
colonial mindset है ना.
एक एलिटिस्ट माइंडसेट है एक्चुअली.
That if you know English then you're.
But it's also a tension. It's a tension that we have to balance in our society because allowing yourself to learn the language opens doors for you.
Of course.
If you learn English, you can be anywhere in the world.
Fair enough.
Because it connects more people. That's true.
At the same time, I think the villainization of Hindi, छोटा सा example है. मैं सिर्फ मजे के लिए करता हूँ. Again, मैं ऑटो में जाता हूँ तो जो अगर आप उबर ऑटो कभी कराओ तो वो OTP जो होता है वो नंबर हिंदी में है. राइट, आप हिंदी में बोलो तो आसपास, क्योंकि आई लिव इन बैंड्रा हियर, सो आई गो विद सम फ्रेंड्स फ्रॉम बैंड्रा, नथिंग अगेंस्ट बैंड्रा. मैंने कहा इसको बोलियो 5867. वो ऑफ हो जाता है कि ये क्या चल रहा है, इसने क्या बोल दिया.
फ़ोन नंबर्स के लिए भी होता है ये.
हाँ.
अगर आप यूपी की आप अगर बात करें तो यूपी अगर आप चले जाएंगे तो वहाँ पे नंबर ऐसे ही बोलते हैं, 58, 67, 64, 65। तो वो है वो, और ख़ास तौर पे मेट्रो सिटीज़ में बहुत है ये। Sorry, you were saying something far more interesting.
No, I was just saying this, that I do this because one of the hills that I like to die on a lot, which is why I was excited to speak with you, because मैंने ट्रेलर देखा और ट्रेलर के अंदर आपके जो आप उसमें रिपोर्टर बने हो साबरमती रिपोर्ट पिक्चर के अंदर, यू टॉकिंग अबाउट कि भारत में बहुत सारे लोग हिंदी बोलते हैं और हिंदी को उसकी रेलिवेंट जगह मिलनी चाहिए। एंड मेरे को पर्सनली ऐसा लगता है मेट्रो सिटीज़ में, चाहे वो मुंबई, दिल्ली, बैंगलोर, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट जहाँ पे इंडिजिनस लैंग्वेज हिंदी नहीं है, बैंगलोर में पीपल,
बहुत जगह नहीं है, एंड वी शुड बी प्राउड ऑफ इट,
ऑफ कोर्स, यू नो। I still think in tier 1 cities, many of my friends, especially in the north, cannot read or write the language anymore. The more privileged you get, you can't.
You will not believe, आज 99% और से 95% of the scripts we get, वो रोमन हिंदी में लिखी जाती है। रोमन हिंदी जो पिछले 10-15 साल पहले एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती थी। देवनागरी पढ़ी नहीं जाती। मेरे घर में बच्चे हैं 13-14 साल के,
They can't read it, right?
They can't read. वो अंग्रेजी फर्राटे से पढ़ते हैं, देवनागरी पढ़ ही नहीं पाते हैं।
But it's a lot of social conditioning, you know, when you're growing up. आपको पता नहीं होता कि सही क्या है, गलत क्या है, you're just following कि ये ऐसे ही होता है, like you know। तो मैंने बहुत लेट रियलाइज़ करा कि मैं ज़्यादा अंग्रेज़ी में बात करती थी और हिंदी में कम करती थी। इसकी हिंदी बहुत अच्छी है, like when he talks, इसके जो the words he'll use are amazing. But
ऐसा भी नहीं है।
नहीं ये सच, चुप रहा है, but it's a fact, इसकी हिंदी बहुत अच्छी है। मेरे एक दोस्त ने मुझे बोला कि यार तू हिंदी फिल्म्स कर रही है, तेरी हिंदी तो अच्छी होनी चाहिए ना, तू हमेशा इंग्लिश में बात करती है। एंड इट वॉज नॉट इवन अ कॉन्शियस थॉट। देख, मैं अभी भी बीच बीच में इंग्लिश में चली जाती हूँ। क्यों? बिकॉज आदत है। उसको कभी जज नहीं किया कि अरे ये हिंदी है, इंग्लिश है।
It's also a product of our times. I think I would consider it absurd अगर हम प्योरली ही हिंदी में बात करते हैं, बिकॉज हमारे पास वो की फिलर वर्ड्स नहीं है, और वो जो फॉर्मल हिंदी है उसको हम यूज़ नहीं कर सकते। इवन
वो हम कॉम्प्रिहेंड ही नहीं कर पाएंगे, एक्चुअली हम भी नहीं कर पाएंगे। अगर हम प्रॉपर शुद्ध हिंदी की अगर बात करें, फिर तो ये है कि मतलब फिर हिंदी के बाद फिर आप संस्कृत पे भी आ जाओगे, फिर आप उसके बाद तमिल पे भी आ जाओगे, फिर ये सारी चीज़ें जो फिर आप लिंग्विस्टिक्स में चले जाओगे। प्रैग्मेटिकली स्पीकिंग मतलब हम लोग सब इंग्लिश ही बोलते हैं, बट कमिंग बैक टू दिस थिंग, इट इज़ व्हाट आई पर्सनली फील इज़, जो हमने फिल्म में भी कहा है कि यू नो, जी हाँ मैं हिंदी बोलता हूँ, और मेरी तरह करोड़ों लोग हैं जो सिर्फ हिंदी ही बोलते हैं और समझते हैं। वी टेंड, जो डाउन मार्केट वर्ड आपने यूज़ किया, इट इज़ सच अ कॉन्डिसेंडिंग टर्म, एंड आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट, और वो जनरली यूज़ करते हैं लोग। इट इज़ अ कॉन्डिसेंडिंग टर्म, ब्रेजनली करते हैं कि ये ऐसा है, ये अंग्रेजी नहीं बोल पाता है।
You know, my problem sometimes is, I mean, I understand what probably those people are going through, but उनकी हिंदी इतनी अच्छी होती है, लेकिन just because they think that English is so cool, they start talking in tutti-frutti English to seek, like, I don't know, to sound cool or to think,
or to fit in probably.
Yeah, to fit in. I completely understand, but I feel like अगर हिंदी अच्छी है तो हिंदी में बोलो यार, और यू नो सीना ठोक के बोलो हिंदी में, बिकॉज आती है मुझे, ये मेरी भाषा है। बट आई स्टिल फील दैट समवेयर इनसाइड ना, बिकॉज ऑफ द सोसाइटल कंडीशनिंग, आई फील उनको लगता है कि अगर अंग्रेजी नहीं आती तो कुछ नहीं आता।
पर अभी चीज़ें बदल रही हैं।
हाँ,
अभी चीज़ें बदल रही हैं कि ये जो आइडेंटिटी की हम बात कर रहे थे बाहर, आज हम अपनी आइडेंटिटी पे प्राइड लेने लगे। एंड ऑल्सो विद इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट टू टाइम अगर हम बात करें, यू नो वी आर अ वेरी यंग कंट्री, ऑफ कोर्स कॉलोनियल हैंगओवर बहुत साल रहा है, और दुनिया के बहुत से देश हैं जहाँ पे आज भी वो हैंगओवर है। इंडिजीनियस प्राइड की अगर हम बात करें या आइडेंटिटी की बात करें, तो अब चीज़ें बदल रही हैं। आज जैसे सिर्फ इस कमरे की अगर हम बात करें, इतने बड़े देश में, इतने बड़े शहर में, एक कमरे में 3 लोग बैठ के इंडिजीनियस प्राइड और आइडेंटिटी की बात कर रहे हैं। तो ऐसे बहुत से घर, ऐसे बहुत से लोग हैं जो कर रहे हैं, हु वांट टू रीगेन देयर प्राइड, और यू नो राइटफुली सो ओन अप हु दे आर, व्हाट दे आर, वेयर दे आर फ्रॉम।
It's like we're unlearning years of shame around who we are, and feeling okay with our bodies, our identities,
और our culture, और our traditions, और ये सारी चीज़ें encapsulate करती हैं। You know, when you talk about identity, all of these things are a part of it. तो बहुत ही surface level पे अगर surface level पे अगर हम बात करें कि चाइना जब अगर चाइनीज़ को इतना दे आर वेरी प्राउड ऑफ इट, वो बहुत प्राउड है. वेदर इट इज़ द रशियंस, वेदर इट इज़ द चाइनीज़, 2 मेजर कंट्रीज की ही हम बात करते हैं सर्फिस लेवल पे. यू गो टू दी स्मॉलर कंट्रीज इन यूरोप ऑल्सो.
Yeah, I think last year I spent 2 months in Spain just traveling through the country. You must learn Spanish to fit in. आप tourist areas के अलावा नहीं कर सकते. तो I had to learn restaurant level Spanish. And that's when the fun really started. They don't have to respond to the pressures of English.
But the same thing is in the southern states where I've worked. Because I can speak in Telugu, I can speak in Tamil. There is no pressure of अरे हमें English आनी चाहिए और हमें English में ही बात करनी है.
आप तेलुगु तमिल बोल लेते हो?
हाँ, मैं दोनों बोल लेती हूँ. So I've sung songs in Telugu, I've sung a song in Malayalam also, professionally, but I can speak the languages. But they take a lot of pride in their language and their culture.
I have a strange question for you. जो लोग जिंदगी में लेट पॉलीग्लॉट बनते हैं, कई लैंग्वेज बोलने वाले, आपके मतलब मन में, जैसे मेरे मन में लव की या डेथ की डेफिनेशन या कल्चरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग हिंदी से आती है, थोड़ी सी गुजरी एक डायलेक्ट है तो मैं तो वो उधर से आती है, इंग्लिश से बहुत बड़ा सेगमेंट आता है, हल्का सा स्पेनिश से आता है क्योंकि टूटी फूटी आती है मुझे, बट अब आपको तमिल तेलुगु भी आती है. सो डज दैट ऑल्टर द वे यू सॉर्ट ऑफ लुक एट लाइक एवरीडे थिंग्स इन कॉन्सेप्ट्स?
तो मैं इतना ज़्यादा नहीं सोचती हूँ, इतना ज़्यादा डेप्थ में. लेकिन पहला रिस्पॉन्स सारा चीज़ों का हिंदी में ही आता है यार. गाली हिंदी में आती है. तेलुगु में एक्चुअली जब मैं एकदम तेलुगु मेरी तेलुगु बहुत ही अच्छी है. तो जब मैं फर्जी करने आई थी, बिकॉज फर्जी वॉज माई फर्स्ट शो दैट आई स्टार्टेड शूटिंग फॉर, तो मेरी रिस्पॉन्स वॉज इन तेलुगु. वेरी वियर्डली आई रियलाइज्ड हिंदी सेट पे ये क्या हो गया, लाइक, एंड देन आई अंडरस्टूड हाउ असिमिलेटेड हैड गॉटन इनटू दैट कल्चर एंड इनटू दैट लैंग्वेज. अब हिंदी में ज़्यादा आता है, बट देयर वाज अ फेज वेयर आई वाज गोइंग थ्रू जब तेलुगु में रिस्पॉन्स आता था. बट कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, आई थिंक दे टेक अ लॉट ऑफ प्राइड इन देयर लैंग्वेज एंड दे डोंट care if you judge them कि English आती है कि नहीं, because they've never cared about it. They're like, you learn our language if you want to fit in. So it's not like you're disrespecting other languages, but you're just very proud of where you belong, and I think that's what we need even in the Hindi speaking states.
Yeah, like मैं जब कॉलेज में था, मैंने विनम्र तो नहीं बोल सकते, रेगुलर लोग ही नहीं बोल पाते विनम्र नाम, हिंदी वर्ड है, तो मैंने अपने आप को विनी बना लिया. उनको अमेरिकन को विनी समझ में आता था. वीके, मैं एंड में वीके बन गया था. मैं विनी, वी मैन, मैंने सब देख लिए. मतलब मैं इटालियन था बेसिकली, विनी, विंस वगैरह. एंड देन इवेंचुअली आई हैड दिस अवेकनिंग. आई वाज लाइक, व्हाट द हेल एम आई डूइंग? बट आई हैड टू सेटल ऑन वीके बिकॉज आई कुड नॉट प्रोनाउंस माय नेम. एंड इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक ऑल इंडियंस अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड लाइक विक्रांत, वो आपको आपका नाम कुछ और बोलेंगे, बट we're so eager to please that we will accept the anglicized pronunciations of our own bloody names instead of having the world accommodate the exact pronunciation of our names.
हाँ, मतलब चलो थोड़ा डिस्काउंट, बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट देना भी पड़ता है कि you can't expect a Chinese, because when I was in Shanghai.
What were you doing in Shanghai?
I was there for the Shanghai Film Festival.
Okay.
So 12th Fail was screened there. There were multiple screenings, so I had this wonderful opportunity to be there. तो वहाँ पे, and also whenever I travel to not so English friendly countries, तो मतलब वहाँ पे I am also okay with the fact कि चलो at least communication हो पाए. So people call me Vic. पर इंडिया में भी विक्रांत कोई नहीं बोल पाता है, तो बहुत लोग नहीं बोल पाते, विनम्र नहीं बोल पाते. So there came a time, or in fact even today, Raashi, I respond to Vikram. So when people say Vikram, I'm like, जी हाँ.
मतलब आप एक व्यक्ति हो जो एक्टर है, जो मशहूर है, आप विक्रम के नाम से जाने जाते हैं.
विक्रम के नाम से भी, अरे यार, there are reviews which are written and written.
Oh my God.
As a joke, can I just say like when I release this podcast, deliberately can I just say Vikrant Massey everywhere?
Vikram Massey.
Just to see the triggering that will happen.
Yes,
and they
yes,
call me
yes.
Raashi in Telugu and Tamil, and they've never changed it to Raashi, but I understand it comes from love. But one thing I'll tell you is, choose your battles in life where you have to fight. Like if it's coming from love, and as he said, benefit of the doubt दे दो, ये थोड़ी लड़ने वाली बात है कि मेरा ठीक से नाम pronounce करो, वो थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो जाता है,
हाँ, मतलब हंगरी में भी, there were some really polite people who were, trying to get my name right. I said, you can call me Vic, it's okay. At least let's get the conversation rolling. Show me around.
You can say Vikrant Massey and you can say Raashi Khanna.
Yeah.
Because that's
cool.
what.
That's cool.
Vikrant
That's your
Massey,
name.
you can.
But it's Massey, and everybody calls him Masi.
Masi.
Even I call him Masi.
You're supposed to be a Masi actor, no? It's just training for that.
I think it's cooler, but that's fine.
ठीक है
मैं एक दो और जीवन के रिलेटेड सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ अपनी
Fun.
सेल्फिश दिलचस्पी के लिए.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
फिर हम
ये मेरी भी दिलचस्पी है.
मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, since you both are in your 30s and
Yeah.
obviously you're slightly wiser than you were before, you've been in this industry long enough, right? अब यही शरीर है, यही दिमाग है, इसी के साथ जाना है आगे 40 में भी 50 में भी, right? आजीवन
इसी के साथ
जाना है, right? What is something that has changed as an attitude or a belief that you had in your 20s that you've now completely discarded as useless?
As useless. I think I've just evolved, but I don't necessarily think that I've discarded something that I was. I've just become better at things. I've become more calm in life. I've let go, which is a very difficult thing to do.
You don't hustle? You don't think about like...
I don't think, see, the thing is, I don't want to think about things anymore. I've come to that stage where I've just surrendered, which is the most difficult thing to do. मैंने जितने भी spiritual texts भी पढ़े हैं, वो end में सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ बोलते हैं, surrender. That's the most difficult thing to do because हम हर चीज़ को control करना चाहते हैं.
Correct.
So I've come to that place where earlier I used to get a little anxious, अब क्या होगा? And you know what? Acting is the most insecure job in the world. I've said this before. क्योंकि आपको नहीं पता आपकी फिल्म होगी कि नहीं होगी, आपके पास काम होगा कि नहीं होगा. और बहुत talented लोग भी हैं जो free, जिनको काम नहीं मिलता है. We've just been very lucky. Luck कह लो, opportunities आई, जो भी, whatever you want to say. But it's very difficult to be an actor. तो होता था टाइम कि एंग्जाइटी होती थी अर्लियर कि काम आएगा नहीं आएगा, क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा. आई थिंक आई रीच दैट स्टेज वेयर आई डोंट थिंक अबाउट इट एट ऑल, एंड इट्स नॉट कि अरे अब क्यों आएगा बिकॉज शी इज़ फेमस इन द साउथ, यू आर मोर सेटल. ऐसा नहीं है. इवन एट द हाइएस्ट लेवल्स देर इज़ दिस इनसिक्योरिटी कि आगे क्या होगा. आपकी 3 फिल्में चल गई, 3 फ्लॉप हो गई, उसके बाद आप देखो द होल थिंग चेंजेस, देन यू आर सिटिंग एट होम, देन यू आर स्टिल स्ट्रगलिंग. सो आई नेवर टेक सक्सेस टू द हेड. Yeah, I
That's
don't...
happened? This routine pruning and purging of people?
Yeah.
Success, fame में...
वो आज भी चलता है. And it is a continuous thing in motion. वो चल रहा होता है.
यार आदमी के दिल पे तकलीफ नहीं होती कि भाई आप तो...
If you attach yourself to it, then आपको तकलीफ होगी, नहीं तो नहीं तो you'll understand कि हाँ ये ऐसे इसलिए है.
That is the nature of life यार.
Yeah, you understand.
मतलब अगर तुम किताबें पढ़ते हो, मुझे पता है, तो I'm sure you must have come across many a times that there is a basic nature of life. Some things that have always been, some things that stay the
It's always easier
same.
when it's happening to a character. It's a little difficult when it's happening to you.
But it's a fact that जब आपकी लाइफ में एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत कम होती हैं तो लाइफ बहुत अच्छी चलती है. आपको किसी से कुछ एक्सपेक्ट ही नहीं करना है. You take life as it comes, you take them as they come.
No, in my case, there are things which I have sort of discarded from my life. In fact, the other day I was reading something which kind of struck gold with me. Was life is such a humbling experience. The more you age, the more you get wiser, hopefully, the more you see life. When you're young, you're like, you want to go out there, conquer the world, I know it all, or I have mastered XYZ. But as you move on in life, as you start graying, as you start sort of facing enough failures to understand that failure is also equally a part of life. When certain relationships don't work out the way you sort of want them to. Life is a very humbling experience. I have unlearned a lot of things. I have come to the realization that not everything is in your control. And like you said, when it happens to other people, it's great to sort of ponder on or learn from. When it happens to you, it's a little difficult. Acceptance is something which is something which comes with time, I feel. तो बहुत सारी चीज़ों को लर्न करके अनलर्न भी किया है और ये कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस है. आज जो चीज़ें मुझे सही लग रही है, मे बी 30 years down the line, I might look back and laugh over it. तो वो है, that's an ongoing process.
But 2 things I want to say is that I have learned the importance of saying no. Like sometimes, and I'm not a people pleaser at all. I cannot please anybody. I will just say what is in my heart. And I
Even at
learned
the cost
this-
of sounding rude, she
Yeah.
really does not care.
Yeah. I mean, there is a difference between being honest and blunt. If I have to be blunt, then I have to be blunt. But I'm very honest as a person. I don't care what the other person thinks because the idea is not to hurt them, but being honest. And honesty really works. So I learned the importance of saying no, and I think the coming generation should learn that. Don't say yes to everything just because you think you're pleasing somebody when your heart is not in things. And I've learned the importance of having a good circle of friends around you, which is very important. It will shape you into who you'll become. And I have some amazing friends. Just be around people who are constantly, pushing you to do your best and not bringing you down. You don't need those kind of friends कि time नहीं निकाला, मेरे से मिलने नहीं आया, ये नहीं हुआ, वो नहीं हुआ. You need the kind of friends who are like, okay, what did you do? Oh, I'm happy for you. I always have your back, even if you're not meeting. They're constantly there for you. That's what you need.
I recently read a tweet by Alex Hormozy, the entrepreneur. He said, "Good friends are busy friends."
Yes.
Because मतलब सारे ही आप हर रोज मिल रहे हो तो आप क्या ही नई अपडेट्स दोगे, राइट? कि हाँ, और तेरा कैसे चल रहा है? बढ़िया, ठीक है. Yeah. Okay, 2 questions, then we'll get to the film.
Yes.
Lovely.
Okay. What's your relationship with the sea? This sea, city where जो
The
ये
sea?
समुंदर है, हाँ.
यार ये तो it's a part of me. मैं तो यहीं का हूँ.
हाँ.
मैं आज भी मतलब I've been fortunate enough to have a 180-degree sea view home.
I was told you come through boat.
Yeah.
I come
Come via
through-
boat.
I come via boat. Sometimes when I'm too lazy, I take that extra long route. So I live in this place called Mud Island in Mumbai.
Yeah. I've had a Mud Island iced tea. I don't recommend it.
The other day someone cracked this कि Long Island हो सकती है तो Mud Island क्यों नहीं हो सकता है?
ये यहाँ पे I don't know, बांद्रा में है कोई पुरानी सी जगह, some place stuck in time that serves Mud Island iced tea. Yeah, I forget the name.
I should definitely try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the sea is a very integral part of me. बचपन से हम समंदर किनारे जाते हैं. Spent a lot of time, by the sea.
Do you place your hopes and aspirations on the sea when you're stuck?
Hopes and aspirations.
ये बहुत deep चला गया.
Sorry.
No, fair enough. Fair enough, because it is a calming effect.
Yeah,
Like it has different effects on different people. So my mother, who is from Mumbai, is petrified of the sea.
Ah.
वो डरती हैं. To an extent कि Titanic देखते वक्त she was sort of petrified. वो समंदर से डरती हैं. The depth of the ocean or the uncertainty or the unknown, the unseen. मेरा भी है. But when there are days when I come back home after a long day, I just put my chair in the balcony and I am just looking deep into the horizon. It has a very calming effect on me. Because coming back to what my root core belief is, कि you are just a speck in this entire universe.
I have to tell you, every time I'm in the flight, I look down and I'm like, हम तो ऐसे हैं, cheating. Like you can just die and nature will not care. So I'm more of a mountain person than I'm a beach person.
And that also actually sort of reminds you the same thing, that you are just a speck.
Yeah.
So when you look at this huge mountain, जैसे जब मैं अपने ससुराल जाता हूँ, धर्मशाला. My wife is from धर्मशाला. तो जब धर्मशाला जाता हूँ तो जब मैं वहाँ पे shit, what is that mountain range यार, धर्मशाला वाली?
एक है.
पीर पंजाल की वार है. धौलाधार. Thank you. धौलाधार.
So random, guys. Smart.
धौलाधार रेंजेस को जब आप देखते हो या कहीं भी मतलब फ्लाइट से देख लो या कहीं से भी देख लो, you realize that you're just a speck in this entire endless thing called universe. तो यार
जैसे इसका घर के आसपास पूरा सी है, मेरे घर के आसपास पेड़ पौधे हैं. And I just keep looking at trees and plants and the sparrows who come.
I think you need that in city life, right? Otherwise, you just...
It's very difficult. Yeah, but I'm a mountain person more than I'm a sea person.
Like everybody has their centering thing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody identifies.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, so it has that centering effect on me. The sea. There are like these huge ships that you can see, पर वो इतनी सी आपको दिख रही होती हैं जब आप खिड़की पे बैठे होते हैं. तो समंदर से मेरा बहुत गहरा रिश्ता है. Should not plug this in, but give you the flip side of it. I've lost a couple of friends who've drowned in sea.
Oh my God.
Childhood friends. Something as harmless as going to fetch a cricket ball pulls them inside and they never come back. तो ये सारी चीज़ें देखी हैं. समंदर एक बहुत ही कमाल की चीज़ है, पता है वो उसकी डेप्थ. इनफैक्ट अगर अकेडमिकली अगर हम बात करें राशि, चाहे कितने भी सैटेलाइट्स हों या मैपिंग सिस्टम हो या कुछ भी हो, only say 26%, if I'm not wrong, pardon my statistical knowledge, but somewhere around that, only 26% of the oceans have been mapped in 2024. जो सी रूट्स हम लेते हैं, जो ट्रेड फेयरिंग रूट्स हैं, they are only 4 to 6% of the sea routes that have been navigated or explored. क्या क्या है आपको पता ही नहीं है.
But you realize how insignificant you are in the universe. और हम क्या सोचते हैं, हम क्या तोप हैं, हम कुछ नहीं है. It's a fact. The idea is to live your life in the most peaceful and happy way. But हम क्या करते हैं, इतनी टेंशन पाल लेते हैं. And our mind is our enemy. So the whole idea is to control your mind and not let your mind control you. Also मेरी meditation में मैंने सीखा था. I say I do nothing, I want nothing, and I am nothing. And when you say that, it really helps. It really helps. It grounds you. It makes you understand that you're just a speck and nothing else. Just live your life in the best possible way. इतना टेंशन लेके इतना चीज़ों में घुस के कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है. You know, the world is really beautiful. Yeah. और ऐसा नहीं हमारी लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं है. आई मीन लॉट ऑफ पीपल टेल मी दैट अरे तुम्हारे लिए तो बहुत आसान है ऐसा बोलना. इट्स जस्ट दैट आई चूज नॉट टू टॉक अबाउट माई बैटल्स और व्हाट आई हैव बीन थ्रू. बट इट्स नॉट लाइक माई लाइफ हैज़ बीन ईजी. लोगों को लगेगा बट आई हैवंट spoken about them doesn't mean I don't have them in my life, but I still overcome that, and it comes from wisdom of all these years that I'll tell you that life is beautiful, just live it, look at the positive side, don't go crazy. And आजकल की जनरेशन तो मतलब ये सोशल मीडिया की वजह से I'm worried because I'm like please don't do this to yourself, this constant anxiety, because I've seen kids, teenagers who are on anxiety pills.
Yeah, it's true.
It's I don't have, I really want to help them, but I don't know how to help them.
And there are many multiple studies by some of the greatest universities in the world which have come to a conclusion, whether it is Yale or whether it is the Oxfords or the Cambridges of the world. They say that we have overstimulated our brains.
Yeah.
Our brains do not have the capacity to take so much at one time.
We can't be bored. Actors can be bored. I think you guys are lucky where you can sit with an emotion for very long. But the average person refuses to be bored.
It's become our second nature now.
Yeah.
But actually, इतना हमने overstimulate कर लिया अपने दिमाग को कि इसीलिए anxiety, इसीलिए यार मैं एक छोटी चीज़ बताता हूँ, ठीक है, which probably could be a part of the larger conversation that we are having. ये ऑटो करेक्ट जो है हमारे फोन्स में, डिवाइसेस में, एक तो हम पेन पकड़ना भूल गए.
Yeah.
हम पेंसिल पेन पकड़ना भूल गए, हम लिखना भूल गए, हम स्पेलिंग्स भूल रहे हैं. क्योंकि आज एआई आपकी इतनी हेल्प कर रहा है. मेरी 13-14 साल की नीसेस हैं जो मतलब जब उनके हाथ से आईपैड या फ़ोन ले लो या कोई भी वो डिवाइस ले लो जो उनको ऑटो करेक्ट करके देगा, यू सी दे आर स्वेटी पाम्स कि यार ओ माय गॉड, हाउ टू स्पेल दिस थिंग, हाउ टू स्पेल दैट. तो ये यूनिवर्सिटीज़ की जो मैं बात कर रहा था, यू नो, कि देयर आर मल्टीपल स्टडीज विच आर ऑलरेडी आउट देयर इन द पब्लिक डोमेन. यू कैन गो टाइप इट, यू कैन फाइंड इट. वी हैव ओवरस्टिमुलेटेड आवरसेल्फ, which we ourselves are not able to, we do not hold that capacity to feed ourselves so much. क्यों कहते हैं कि 20 मिनट मेडिटेट करो दिन में एक बार, योग करो?
नहीं कर सकते लोग. They cannot sit even for 5 minutes shutting their eyes.
वो हमारा सेकंड नेचर हो गया. And lastly, you know, what Raashi was saying, I just want to, because this is something which is my core belief, and I hold it very close to my heart. Aldous Huxley के बारे में हम सब जानते हैं. He comes from the Huxley family, author.
You've read Aldous Huxley?
Yes.
Have you read The Island?
नहीं, आइलैंड नहीं पढ़ी है मैंने उनकी कुछ कंपाइलेशंस पढ़ी हैं.
Okay.
काफ़ी चीज़ें पढ़ी हैं. उनकी बायोग्राफी मैंने पढ़ी है. When he was on his deathbed, और ये मैं हर जगह कहता हूँ और ये मैं 10 साल से कह रहा हूँ, he was asked after doing so much, you know, he contributed to humanity at that point in time in the truest sense, and came from a very privileged Huxley family, you know. He just said one thing, कि let us be kinder to one another, and lastly, in the context of time, try being the brightest blip in the history of the universe.
That's such a nice line.
Try being the brightest blip in the history of the universe. That is what he said. Let's be kinder to one another. I mean, अपने आप को इतना सीरियसली लेते हैं हम. एंड जो पहला सवाल भी था आपका, एज एन एक्टर, फेम, सक्सेस, फेलियर, ये सारी चीज़ें मुझे लगता है कि ये उसका ये जवाब है या क्रक्स है, आई डोंट नो. एवरीथिंग इज ट्रांजिएंट यार. Everything is transient. I mean, nothing is permanent. Some things always stay the same. This will also be the same. ये शहर नहीं रुक जाएगा कल को अगर आप चले जाओगे. लोग अपना काम कर रहे होंगे, लोग खुश होंगे, घरों में शादियां होंगी, लोग जश्न मनाएंगे, कोई आएगा, कोई जाएगा. ये लाइफ का दस्तूर है.
Life is too short.
Yeah, I made a pledge a few days ago to be sillier, to be silly, because I felt like I had to roar up my ass. Like, you know, seriously, ये काम करना है, ऐसे करना है. And I read it somewhere, कि if you're not silly, be silly. If you're silly, be sillier. And I think that's cool because, और आप क्या कर सकते हो कि आप see one, like, you know, when you pick a brain-centric professional, cerebral profession, you can let it run your entire life. Where what you do, the words you say and you write, you think they hold more power than, you know, your small existence. तो आप सोचते हो मेरी लिखाई, मेरी पढ़ाई, मेरी पिक्चर, और आप उस पर अभिमान करते हो. And the juice of life just flows away from you and you become dry and all, you know.
See, one day you'll die, as all of us will. And वो माला चढ़ती है, कुछ साल लोग रखते हैं, वो भी फेंक देते हैं. You know, then you're basically, are you
Yeah,
living
everyone
for
does on
that?
his Instagram, RIP, RIP.
Yeah, are you living for that after what happens when you die? Or are you living your life while you're living? That's more important.
I mean, balance होना जरूरी है. Live in the moment, enjoy whatever you have. But also, मतलब मैं तो इस चीज़ पे भी मेहनत कर रहा हूँ कि what do I leave behind? And do I choose to leave behind a mansion or do I choose to leave behind a few good people who will take the torch forward?
I think that's also coming from the fact that now he's a father. So
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah,
thinks
yeah.
like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I've always actually thought like that. Now it has
Even
sort
more.
of come a little more to the forefront because I have a young
Is that
boy.
your main role in life now?
That is the only main role in life.
That's
that
the
has
one
always
thing
been.
that matters?
That has always been. Even when I was not married, even when I didn't have my son, my main role was to be a good son and a good brother. To be a good actor, yes, of course, I want to be a good actor. I want to be an actor people want to work with. I want to be an actor people would love to see. But my main role in life is a father, a husband. A son, a brother, a friend. वो है. That is my primary role in life.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're going to make Arjuna and Krishna weep.
नहीं.
Which is a good segue to
Yes.
finally talk about
Sabarmati.
this movie.
Yes.
Of course.
Sabarmati Report.
देखो, मुझे सबसे पहले लगा कि भाई दिस इज अ सेंसिटिव टॉपिक और आप लोगों ने इसके ऊपर पिक्चर बनाई, आपने उसमें एक्ट करा है.
जी.
आप हाउ वाज द कास्टिंग प्रोसेस, व्हाट enabled both of you to decide and say कि यार
मैं
हम ये
बताऊंगी.
पिक्चर करने
बिल्कुल, please.
मैं बताऊंगी. तो me and Vikrant were shooting for this film called तलाखों में एक, जो अगले साल आई. It's one of our finest work, I feel. मेरा तो है, ये तो वैसे ही बहुत अच्छा काम
Please.
करता है, but he's also very, of course, he's very good in the film. So we were shooting for that film and बात चल रही थी and then he told me about Sabarmati, that, you know, he's heard the script and everything. And he's like, I think they're considering you for the other role. So, और मेरा first reaction was like, मैं नहीं करूँगी ये. This was my reaction because a lot of times we feel that this might be a propaganda film. I don't want to be part of propaganda because I always stayed away from these kind of films and also stayed away from opinions on anything political. Unless अगर आपको पता नहीं है ना क्या हो रहा है तो आप opinion मत दो तो better है, right? So I've always stayed away from that. So I was like नहीं मैं नहीं करूँगी and he's like नहीं तू पढ़ तो सही. He's like then I thought there must be a reason why he said yes because I think he's a very credible actor. And a lot of the audience feels the same thing. आज अगर लोग साबरमती देखने आएंगे या वो कंसिडर भी करेंगे तो वो इसलिए करेंगे बिकॉज विक्रांत ने नॉट दी है उसको. आई जेन्युइनली मीन इट. तो जब इसने साइन करी तो मैंने कहा चलो सुन लेते हैं. तो मैं गई मिलने, उन्होंने चिट्ठे खोल दिए कि देखो ये पिक्चर्स हैं, दिस इज़ आवर रिसर्च, दिस इज़ व्हाट वी हैव डन. एंड इट ब्लू माई माइंड बिकॉज आई वॉज देयर इन 2002 में स्कूल में थी, लेकिन मुझे पता था हाँ राइट्स हुए हैं, ये सब हुआ है, लेकिन मुझे पता ही नहीं था वो शुरू क्यों हुआ, वो कैसे हुआ. आई न्यू नथिंग अबाउट इट, राइट. It's a shame that I didn't know that thing about my history. And then I asked my friends.
You were too
Yeah.
young.
And I asked my friends also. They're like, हाँ कुछ हुआ था, पता नहीं क्या हुआ था. That really shaped our future. That history, piece, whatever that happened. So I was very ashamed. I was like, पहले तो मुझे कुछ पता नहीं है. And then there were so many things that came out जो कभी बाहर आई नहीं है, एक्चुअली में बाहर नहीं आई हैं. एंड इफ़ यू स्टार्ट रीडिंग अबाउट साबरमती, अगर आप गोधरा राइट्स के बारे में भी जाके देखेंगे ऑनलाइन, तो इतने डिफरिंग व्यूज़ हैं कि आपको समझ ही नहीं आएगा कि एक्चुअली में क्या हुआ था.
history has been fudged. It's
it
very
has been
complicated.
fudged.
Most of it.
So
Yeah.
Most.
So then I was like, I want to be able to tell this story as an actor. And I know it took a lot of courage even for me to be a part of it. But I got into it and I'm really happy I did. Because we do tell you things that you've not known before and you need to know.
Did you receive pushback from friends and family as you ventured into this?
My mother
Because
was-
ये social justice की तरफ जा रहे हो आप.
See, my parents were happy because they know that I'll do my own research before I decide. And honestly, for my decisions, I don't go to anybody else but my own self. It has to come from me whether I have to do it or not. Nobody can influence me.
Right.
It's a fact. तो मैंने पढ़ा, मैंने अपना इन्फॉर्म्ड डिसीजन लिया कि ये करना है. तो माई फ्रेंड्स वर लाइक, अरे ये प्रोपेगेंडा होगी, अरे देख लेना एंड ऑल दैट. आई सेड नहीं, आई नो व्हाट इज इन इट, आई नो व्हाट वी आर शूटिंग एवरी डे, आई नो कितना ध्यान रखा जा रहा है कि हम क्या बोल रहे हैं. यू नो, वी डोंट हैव टू से समथिंग कि बिकॉज हम जो बोलेंगे उसका इफेक्ट होगा. यू नो, सिनेमा इज अ रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी एंड वाइस वर्सा. सो आई वॉज वेरी केयरफुल ऑफ व्हाट आई वॉज सेइंग, ही वॉज वेरी केयरफुल ऑफ व्हाट ही वॉज सेइंग. तो हमने कोशिश करी है इन अ वेरी ऑनेस्ट वे टू प्रोजेक्ट a story, and obviously people will see it from different lenses. कोई communal angle से दिखेगा, कोई political angle से दिखेगा, but our whole idea was to see it from a very humane level. कि there were people who lost their lives. We are talking about those people. It's a tribute to those people who lost their lives who nobody knows about. उनको पता भी नहीं कितने, आपको गूगल करना पड़ेगा कितने लोग मरे थे.
59 pilgrims.
हाँ, तो all this we'll know from Google.
So for context for the viewers, since they might not know कि क्या
Yeah.
scene है, I read the rough synopsis. It's based on the Sabarmati Report. Came out after, I think, in coach S6 of the train from Ayodhya to
and
Ahmedabad. S6 and S7.
S7.
अयोध्या टू अहमदाबाद एक ट्रेन जा रही थी जिसके अंदर हिंदू पिलग्रिम्स थे जो अपनी वो दे हैड गॉन टू अयोध्या टू वर्शिप लॉर्ड राम एंड देयर वाज सम इंसिडेंट इन द ट्रेन. दे आर नॉट श्योर कि क्या हुआ. आई थिंक दिस इज व्हाट द मूवी कवर्स वेयर इट वाज सेट ऑन फायर और द ट्रेन कॉट फायर एंड व्हाटएवर हैपेंड आफ्टरवर्ड. क्योंकि स्टार्टिंग में आई एम अज्यूमिंग इट वाज सेड दैट it would happened as an accident, but later the Supreme Court SIT probe said that was not the case. Is that what part of this whole scenario does the film deal with?
The film primarily deals with the Sabarmati incident.
Okay.
And very rightly said, S6 और S7 में आग लगी थी या लगाई गई थी वो आप फिल्म में देखेंगे. But that is what the film primarily talks about. Why does the film talk about that particular incident? Because when all of us sat together, half the things Raashi said, when we sat, when we sort of were pondering about how do we tell this story, unfortunately there is very little spoken about the genesis of the aftermath. Whatever happened afterwards, unfortunately did happen, should not have happened, और वो किसी भी सिविल सोसाइटी में नहीं होना चाहिए. बहुत ही अलग अलग व्यू पॉइंट्स थे लोगों के, टू एन एक्सटेंट कि 4-5 साल तक लोगों को पता ही नहीं था कि हुआ क्या. वॉट द फिल्म एक्चुअली टॉक्स अबाउट इज द रोल ऑफ द मीडिया. मीडिया का क्या रोल था? मीडिया जो आपकी डेमोक्रेसी का 4th पिलर है, उनका उस दौरान क्या रोल था?
Were they suppressing the story? Were they
Yes.
fudging the facts?
Were they fudging the facts? How they were fudging? Why they were fudging? What was the ulterior motive? ये सारी चीजें ये फिल्म आपको बताती है.
When? Sorry.
And lastly, also, I mean, I can go on and on. Lastly, there is a generation in this country that does not know about it.
Yeah.
And if you are true to yourself, if you just for a moment keep your left and right aside and see it purely from a humane perspective, एक इंसानियत के नाते अगर आप देखोगे, उन 59 लोगों में से एक का भी किसी को नाम नहीं पता है. Nobody knows कि उन 59 लोगों में से कौन थे, कहाँ से आए थे, क्या करते थे. Nobody knows about it.
There's a beautiful line in a film which says, इस आग में बहुतों ने अपनी रोटियां सेकी हैं. I think that's a beautiful line that basically summarizes what he's trying to say. I'd
Many
also-
people profited from
Many.
this
Yes.
massacre.
Many.
Yeah.
And pushback मुझे आया काफ़ी. There were people saying कि why do you want to do this? I said why not? एक ऐसी चीज़ जो हमारे करंट सोशियो पॉलिटिकल क्लाइमेट को जिसने इतना मैसिवली ऑल्टर किया, which was actually a tipping point, which was a pivot point. Nobody wants to talk about that because of fear of judgment.
Did your fraternity condemn you because you're taking a stand?
Not yet. And hopefully
And
not
when they
yet.
watch the film.
Not yet.
Okay.
And I hope they do not. I would be a little sad if they do so. Because any form of art, whether literature or cinema or music or anything, should be done fearlessly.
But you know, I feel like ये Twitter आने के बाद ना, no offense,
हाँ,
but
that's
it's
true.
become very leftist and rightist. So anybody who's even trying to be balanced, उनको वो जीने नहीं देते.
There is no
And then
center,
people
yeah.
have stopped saying anything, and silence is sometimes not very good.
Silence is far worse.
You know,
sometimes.
so but आप क्या करोगे? आपको अब हम ये मूवी लेके आ रहे हैं, they're all asking us, अरे ये left है कि right है? There's no in between.
Yeah.
Because you always want to mold the truth in one direction or the other.
And I always say this thing, I've said this
Yeah.
before also, कि
ये
you know,
leftist
आज की
क्या
तारीख में हम बहुत माइंडफुलनेस की बात करते हैं. हम योग करो, लाइफ में बैलेंस ढूंढो, बैलेंस डाइट होनी ज़रूरी है, यू नो मेडिटेट करो, फाइंड दैट बैलेंस इन योर लाइफ.
Yeah.
व्हाट अबाउट बैलेंस ऑफ पर्सपेक्टिव्स?
आपको जीने नहीं देंगे लोग. आप रख ही नहीं सकते, नहीं तो आप चुप रहो, बिकॉज हम आ जाएंगे एंड वील टॉक अबाउट लेफ्ट.
Balance of perspectives, I feel, is a very important part of a civilized, healthy society. And pushback आने के बावजूद, I said this is a story that needs to be told, because unfortunately I have people in my family, young kids who are the future of this country, who do not know, and worse, do not care.
Yeah.
So
No, it's far worse because they don't care. I meet many geopolitical scholars, historians, political commentators, और वो मुझे युद्ध, जंग, articles, you know, judgment reports वो करते हैं और मैं ऐसे करता रहता हूँ. अच्छा, they're like, you know, this changed the course of the country. I was like, I'm not aware.
But you know, that's why history is so important. It's ever evolving with the narratives that we choose to tell
Yeah.
to our future generations.
and as you said, most history is fudged.
Yeah.
जब से आप प्री हिस्ट्री की बात करें, जब से लिखी शुरू हुई है,
Yeah.
most of the history has been fudged
They say, no, history is written by the victors, so you have to keep
by the
retelling
conquerors.
it.
Yeah, by the conquerors.
You said media उस वक्त बहुत complicit था, and मैंने जब ट्रेलर देखा, it's a full like action-packed trailer, like where you both have teamed up as reporters and are trying to fearlessly either go against the establishment, you know. मेरे में ये एक ख्याल आया.
A large chunk of the media was complicit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I would definitely not say that everyone was. A large chunk of the media was complicit.
This is a fictionalized story, fictionalized based on like आपने पहले जो makers हैं उन्होंने पहले research करी and then they fictionalized the account.
No, characters are fictional. But
The characters are
story is
fictional.
not.
This is not based on real journalists who were there.
Some of them are.
Okay.
But due to limitations of litigations, we of course, and everyone has to sort of change the names of the characters or places and falana dhimkana. But everything that you see in the film, or I can very proudly say more than 90% of what you see in the film is actually documented.
Interesting. You said earlier कि media fourth pillar है. I have spent extensive time with some of the mainstream media on the right, some of them on the left, met them all across the country and the world, and I'm sort of like up and coming YouTuber, podcaster, एक नया generation altogether वो आ रहा है. And we have a space of more credibility because many think कि ये तो सब complicit हो चुके हैं. They've chosen sides. There's the left and the right, like you mentioned, right? When you were doing research for this role, were you also reading media accounts of what happened? Did you speak with reporters, journalists to understand कि वो लोग सोचते कैसे हैं? How do they go out and maybe go against the entire establishment when they're trying to establish कि हम सही बोल रहे हैं और हमारे साथ अन्याय हो रहा है?
He did.
I did.
He met.
You were smiling.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately वो आज भी चल रहा है.
अच्छा.
Unfortunately वो चीज़ आज भी चल रही है. और सच में इस देश में, इस दुनिया में बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं, ईमानदार लोग हैं, जो वाकई कुछ अच्छा करना चाहते हैं, पर उनको करने नहीं दिया जाता है.
कुचल देता हूँ.
And you know, इस फिल्म में भी both of us are playing those journalists who want to go against the tide, or who actually go against the tide. Are they allowed to do so? Are they sort of suppressed? Are they stifled? ये आप फिल्म में देखेंगे. पर अगर हम सिर्फ मीडिया की बात करें, आज भी ऐसे बहुत से लोग हैं जो ईमानदारी से काम करना चाहते हैं पर उनको करने नहीं दिया जाता है. Because everybody is replaceable. And that is the unfortunate truth of life, especially the times that we're living in.
Right.
So, I mean, it totally depends how you take it.
I think then it comes to the question of morality also. Where you stand. Can you stand for what you believe in? Or you'll go with the tide. You'll put that little voice inside. Will you curb it and you'll follow the tide? I think our characters are the ones who go against the tide. Risk their lives for the truth. And ऐसे बहुत rare लोग होते हैं.
12th फेल का एक डायलॉग है कि बाहर के अंधेरे से नहीं, अंदर के अंधेरे से डरो.
Yeah, true.
सुविधाओं के लालच में समझौतों का अंधेरा. ये बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है ये. अगर आप इसको ब्रेक डाउन करके समझोगे, सुविधाओं के लालच में समझौतों का अंधेरा हम सब करते हैं.
आधे IAS ऑफिसर्स ने सर्किट हाउस त्याग दिया अपना.
बहुत लोग करते हैं. ये वो जर्नलिस्ट्स हैं जिन्होंने शायद, अगर आप फिल्म देखेंगे तो इनकी भी एक जर्नी है, इनकी भी एक ग्रोथ है, इनका भी एक कमिंग इनटू है. बट कमिंग बैक टू द क्रक्स ऑफ द फिल्म, डिस्पाइट द पुशबैक, डिस्पाइट दैट प्रीकंसीव्ड नोशन कि अच्छा ये प्रोपेगेंडा फिल्म है और is it mollycoddling some political section or not or what? I personally would not. It does bother me. ऐसा नहीं है कि I am absolutely defiant and it does not bother me. That would be absolutely inhuman and stupid of me to sort of claim, because it does bother me. But by the end of it, what matters to me is what I have done in my lifetime as a storyteller. I have made an honest attempt to go out there, tell a story that needs to be told.
Just shooting in the dark, what was the most difficult thing about doing these roles as reporters?
There is a scene in the film that I have to talk about as soon. I mean, the fact that you asked me, there are a lot of things, but there's a very daunting scene that we enter this. We recreated the whole burning of the train, and we entered that train, which is burnt on all sides, and we both were standing there, and we were wondering how people would have felt. There were kids in that bogie, and it's just रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं. You know, you start feeling emotional about it. I don't know those people, but I know how they must have felt, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the idea, that when you watch the film also, there should be a string in your heart that should just go like, that should feel for them, because you will feel for them. आपको जला दिया, हमें थोड़ा सा जलता है, थोड़ा इतनी दर्द होती है. Imagine like you just put a bogie on fire.
Yeah.
वो कैसे, एक तो वो overcrowded थी, you know, so how did they couldn't get out. It's the worst thing that can happen to anyone. So from a very human perspective, I saw this, and how you cannot escape your history. You know, मेरा interest politics में actually, और politics history में और बड़ा ये film करने के बाद. Because I was like, हाँ ठीक है, क्या करना है. मैं भी ऐसे हाँ नहीं, मुझे नहीं पता. You know, but now I want to know things, because it does shape you into the person you are, and you want your future generations also to know what happened and why you are there in this free world today. You need to know what happened in the past. And how you've come here. Also, this question of morality that it's very difficult to be a journalist. You know, there may be a feeling कि अरे मैं सच बोलूँगी, अरे मैं सच का सामना करेंगे बैठ के. But there are pressures.
There are severe costs.
Yeah. And ऊपर से pressure आता है. इसका dialogue है फिल्म में. You know, that वो मीडिया वाले सच के लिए मीडिया वालों को देखते हैं.
कि इस देश की जनता सच जानने के लिए मीडिया की ओर देखती है. और मीडिया जनता को सच दिखाने से पहले अपने ऊपर बैठे मालिकों को देखती है. स्पॉन्सर्स भी चाहिए ना सब.
So there are so many perspectives, like Riddhi says this, there's a dance of perspective in our film. You know, where you will see different perspectives and you will say, हाँ but ये भी गलत नहीं है, पर ये भी गलत नहीं है. तो फिर सही क्या है? You know? So there are a lot of perspectives and people might start thinking, and I genuinely feel that art is something that makes you think. Once you see the film, you should talk about it. It should make you feel something.
It should stay with you for at least 15 minutes.
Yeah. I think this film will do that. It will start
15 मिनट तो रहे सिनेमा घर से निकलने के बाद. I mean, सोचो, पहले लोग फिल्मों से इंस्पायर होकर अपना जीवन बदल लेते थे.
Of course.
You know, घरों में चर्चा होती थी. आज हमारी उम्मीद ये है, in the age of Instagram and you know ADHD, हम चाहते हैं कि 15 मिनट तो एटलीस्ट लोग हमारी फिल्म के बारे में बात करें.
You want this to linger in people's heads.
You want it to, you know, because I am a very firm believer in the fact that history is not a thing of the past. History is a precursor to the future.
Yeah.
Because everything is cyclical.
Yeah. I mean, हम aware हैं कि हम पे बहुत attacks होंगे. Like, you know, whatever that they may say, they will. But I just hope that people can see it and decide for themselves.
We are
थोड़ा बहुत तो
hopeful.
चलता है.
चलता है यार, हम तो मतलब ऐसे ही thick skinned हो जाते हैं being an actor after a while, but of course there's a social responsibility on our shoulders as well.
No, I am certainly hopeful that, and also with the fact that we've made a very intelligent film.
Yeah.
We आज की ऑडियंस को स्पून फीड करने की जरूरत नहीं है विनम्र.
Correct.
गया वो जमाना जब आपको स्पून फीड करना होता था. The audiences today are far more intelligent than they were say 20 years ago.
And they react fast with facts, with insights.
They are certain things themselves. They want a film watching experience to also be cerebral. तो वो चाहते हैं. तो ये जो फिल्म है ये इमोशनली तो आपको स्टर करेगी ही करेगी. हम आपको ये नहीं कह रहे हैं कि ये सही है या ये गलत है.
Yeah, there are no sides to this.
You are smart enough to ascertain as to क्या सही है क्या गलत है. आपकी अपनी खुद की मोरालिटी है. वो 800 लोग जो सिनेमा घर में बैठे होंगे हम उनको ये बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट दे रहे हैं कि वो सही और गलत को खुद पहचान पाए.
Have you guys watched Fauda?
Yeah,
I've
of
seen
course.
Fauda.
Netflix,
yeah.
of course. You know, you can tell when a show is unbiased, when it pisses off both sides equally. I was reading the reviews, and it's such a difficult conflict to cover, and they cover it from the Israeli side. Since I was in Israel recently covering the war, I could see how difficult it is to go in the middle of history and try to unravel it and package it. So I think आप चाहे कितनी भी कोशिश करो, there's going to be some nuance still left aside, despite your best attempts, right?
Of course.
What is something that you wish you had more time to cover in the film, or what is something that is still like, यार हम ये अच्छी तरह कर पाते? Because as actors, you ultimately don't have too much control over like the script.
No, but I think our makers were very it was
बहुत ही
very
accommodating थे,
conversational.
बहुत ही collaborative था पूरा
तो
process.
ऐसा कभी नहीं था कि ये हमने लिखा है तो यही बोलना है. You know, they were always open to discussion. So it never felt like हम पे कुछ pressure आ रहा है, because otherwise we wouldn't have been part of it.
Where do you guys shoot this?
We shot this in Gujarat. We shot this in Mumbai.
That's it.
Gujarat and Mumbai, yes.
You shot this about a year ago?
We started in December last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think मैंने कोई news पढ़ी थी that the release was pushed for a while.
Yes.
Supposed to release in April or May.
Because of other
In May.
films. I think because of films.
Because of other
lineup.
films, and also because there were the elections.
Right.
And then वो सारी चीज़ें थी. And then there were other films. We also wanted to give ourselves a fair chance to sort of
Reach the audience.
not clash with anyone. Just come out there and present our film in the best possible way.
You know, I'm not a member of the entertainment press, but I did pull up one stat.
Oh.
And I will read it out to show that I'm a member of the entertainment press. In July 2024, Hindi films earn only... See, he's deliberately masking my fact.
not
you know,
at all.
it's just all planned.
Please repeat yourself.
You guys, ये हो रहा है असली propaganda तो. I'm being suppressed as a journalist by the actor lobby. Okay, enough.
Yes.
In July 2024, Hindi films earned only 37.76% of July 2024's 466 crore जितना भी business हुआ. You've seen that, you know, it's harder and harder for Hindi films to do well. You've commanded the South clearly, right? You've had amazing success at 12th Fail, right? Do you expect this to break box office numbers, or is that something you never know?
I don't
Because
think we've thought about...
you're not going with a crowd pleaser. Let's just say that.
Sorry, we haven't thought about numbers, because this is not a film where we thought, अरे हम कितना पैसा कमाएंगे.
And the best thing is that our producers also don't think like that. The producer of this film, Ekta Kapoor, has not made this film. And she, when we started prepping for the film, she said, I do not care whether this film makes money or no. I want to tell this story. I will tell this story with absolute truth and the way I want to tell it. So when it comes from right from the top ना, तो वो आपके खुद के thought process में नहीं आता है. आएगा पैसा अच्छी बात है यार. आएगा पैसा तो अच्छी बात है क्योंकि बॉक्स ऑफिस कलेक्शन इज ऑल्सो अ बैरोमीटर फॉर सक्सेस.
Right.
But again, for a film to have an archival value, to have an impact, a real impact, is equally important for me. So what I am hoping to achieve, or rather all of us are hoping to achieve, is the latter.
Yeah.
क्या बात है. Obviously, people can watch the film on November 15th in theaters.
Yes.
Where else can they watch the film?
Where else can they watch the film? They
Theaters.
can theaters
Theaters
में
में, theaters
आप आपके नज़दीकी सिनेमा घरों में. But whenever the time is right, you can definitely watch it on Z5.
No, but the film you have to watch. This
You
is
have
a
to-
theatrical,
this is a theatrical experience.
Yeah.
जब तक कि वो होठ सूझते नहीं है पॉपकॉर्न खा के और पेप्सी एक्स्ट्रा पी के थिएटर में तो मज़ा नहीं आता. I also think that many of my Gen Z audience will actually have to leave their homes और लैपटॉप पे टेढ़ी गर्दन करके आप देखते हो और एक्चुअली जाके अगर आप पिक्चर देखोगे आपको अच्छा लगेगा.
अरे मजा आता है यार फिल्म्स देखना ना with friends and family.
Or just alone.
It's just a
You're
community
community
experience.
viewing जो है.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I mean जब वो ऐसे हाई मोमेंट्स पे जब वो शोर मचाते हैं, जब वो साथ में रोते हैं, you know that feeling is just different. You cannot compare it to एक छोटी स्क्रीन पे आप मूवी देख रहे हो.
You know, but like, I just want to share this because it's funny. एक बार मैं और my friend and I were having a few drinks. We're like, now what do we do? And I spent a lot of time my life in Faridabad. So it's a city.
You're pretty well traveled, bro.
No, I just lived there. I just lived there for 18 years and then फिर मैं यहाँ वहाँ घूमा. पर ना क्या होता है कि टियर 2 शहर में ना करने को बहुत कुछ कम हो जाता है आफ्टर अ वाइल. आप गाड़ी या बाइक ही घुमा सकते हो यहाँ से वहाँ सेम कैफे पे जा सकते हो. इट्स नॉट लाइक दिल्ली और मुंबई where आपके पास brand new bars and cafes and the who's and who you're meeting. So you're just bored most of the time. So we're cruising around like, what do we do? Like, let's go watch a film. Let's watch Fast and the Furious. नई वाली कोई 26 आई हुई थी, I don't know. Fast and the Furious, whatever, right? So we go. हमने वो हिंदी डब में चले गए.
अरे वाह.
We had a few drinks.
Must have been
Well,
a
that'd be
laugh riot,
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
No, we slept. हमने popcorn, Pepsi लिए to like ease the alcohol, right? Of course, we were being driven. लेकिन यार ऐसी बात नहीं है. If you end up going into a bad film and like आपको पता लगता है कि सिनेमा की मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है वो कितना ऑफ हो गया. But there's been some fun times as well. For example, when I watched 12 Fail, मैंने वो लास्ट वाली वो रिक्लाइनर वाली सीट ली थी and I had to sit up and cry. I'm just saying एक है ब्रेन रॉट क्योंकि फास्ट एंड द फ्यूरियस 1 2 3 लेजेंड. उसके बाद भाई फ्रेंचाइजी आ रही है, इसको पे लो, रॉक को भी बुला लो, जेसन स्टेथम को भी बुला लो, राइट? सो यू कैन सी दैट the viewer loses interest at that point.
It's the business's primary aspect.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you, sorry, this is way off topic, but he is brilliant in the film.
Who?
Vikrant.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Jason Statham.
नहीं यार, ये मेरा दोस्त. He's so good यार, like.
I think all of us have done a good job.
नहीं, I mean I know him, so मैं इतना seriously नहीं लेती इसको, but मैं जब इसका काम देखती हूँ ना, तो मेरी आंखों में ऐसी चमक आती है. मैंने कहा अरे ये कितना अच्छा एक्टर है यार. Like yesterday I was seeing some parts of the film.
पैसे पहुंच चुके हैं.
Keep quiet. Yesterday I saw the film, parts of the film, and I just went to him and I was like, यार तू कितनी अच्छी acting करता है यार. I mean he's just very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I used to see you on TV, Rajma Chawal khate हुए. Look how far you've come.
But I want to answer that question about the statistics that you spoke of.
Yeah.
कि only 34%?
No, it says, wait, as a member of the entertainment press, my stats say Hindi films earn 37.76%.
37.76%. यार ये सबसे ज़्यादा पीक पे था जब कोविड हुआ था. नॉर्थ वर्सेस साउथ चल रहा था बहुत. Fair enough, the statistics, the data speaks for itself. But these are two completely different cinema viewing cultures.
Yeah.
And she can sort of take it forward from here on कि वहाँ पे cinema is actually a very, very integral part of their life.
Larger than life, yeah.
Hence you see former actors into state leaders.
Yeah. Think of Pawan Kalyan. I've seen Pawan Kalyan's videos, rallies. मैं हिल जाता हूँ यार देख के.
But yeah, they are considered as gods for their fans.
Demigods, वहाँ पे है.
वो वाला जो स्टारडम है वो इतना हिंदी में नहीं है एक्सेप्ट सलमान सर और शाहरुख सर जो वो जनरेशन है. उसके बाद इतना स्टारडम नहीं है. बट दैट स्टारडम स्टिल वेरी वेरी इंटैक्ट इन द सदर्न स्टेट्स. एंड आई नो अ लॉट ऑफ माई डायरेक्टर्स जो देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ विलेज कमिंग फ्रॉम विलेजेस. उनका प्राइमरी ये होता था कि हम स्कूल बंक करेंगे, खेतों में फिल्म लगती थी, वो खेतों में फिल्म देखने जाते थे जस्ट टू सी देयर एक्टर्स. That's the love they have for the films. कुछ भी हो जाए वो फिल्म देखना नहीं छोड़ेंगे. कोविड आए कुछ भी आए वो फिल्म देखना नहीं छोड़ेंगे. वो और चीज़ों को कट करेंगे अपनी लाइफ में, फिल्म देखना कट नहीं करेंगे.
Cinema is a very, very big chunk of their culture.
And it's theatrical. They will not care about OTT films in general. They'll be like हमें तो थिएटर में जाके देखना. And if you have to watch a film, you have to watch them in BC centers. The high is something else. वो पेपर उड़ाते हैं, वो चीखते हैं, वो चिल्लाते हैं, वो आपके लिए मरने के लिए तैयार हैं. That's the kind of fandom that I've seen in the south. It compares to nothing in the north.
Yeah, and this is despite the fact that all of the 4 southern states have a higher literacy rate. So it doesn't mean कि आप ज़्यादा पढ़े लिखे हो, you still can have a very vibrant cinema culture.
Of course, they love films. They just love films. It doesn't matter तुम IIT से हो या तुमने पढ़ाई नहीं करी है. You know, you'll still love film. Like IIT Bombay when we went, there were these guys who were from the Telugu states जो खिड़की से आए थे, पीछे वो तेलुगु के लोग थे.
मैं उन्हीं की बात कर रहा था.
And they just came barged through. They are very intelligent people, but they love their actors. You know, with that culture I haven't seen. Even when I was growing up, I was never starstruck really. मैं LSR में बड़ी हूँ. I never was starstruck. It's not like कोई actor आएगा मैं पागल हो जाऊँगी. Except I love Shah Rukh Khan.
course.
Everybody loves him. But still that level जो इनका वो हाथ पे लिख दो tattoo बना देते हैं. You know, I've seen all of that. So I'm like, this is amazing. I mean, for actors, of course.
Have any of you have had fans who have tattooed your
Yes,
names?
that's what I was coming for. There was this guy who came and he said, "Ma'am," so there are associations also, Raashi Khanna Fan Association in Vizag.
I want to enroll in one.
उसका head ऐसा है, like you know, the head will take care of everything, all the
Admins आप DM पे
activities.
बात करते
Admins
हो?
हैं, मैं नहीं करती, मेरे manager करते हैं. They're all in touch. I also am in touch with my fan club. ऐसा नहीं है. They put all their energy into, you know, just making sure that you're good, what you're doing, everything. Anyway, coming back to what was I saying? So there was this fan who came and he said, "Ma'am, can you please write your name?" And I wrote like मैंने तो अच्छा खासा बड़ा बड़ा लिख दिया. The next thing I knew was उसने tattoo करा लिया अपने हाथ पे यार. And I was like, what? Like मुझे ना, I mean it's great that they are like that, but मुझे नहीं लगता कि you know I'm worth that much.
So sweet of you to say.
नहीं I swear because मुझे लगता है
really
यार
kind of you to say that actually.
हम सब इंसान है ना यार, मतलब great if you're doing really well in your career, I'll respect you, but मैं तुम्हारा नाम नहीं लिख दूंगी ना. मतलब but that's amazing because we are because they are. Right? But मेरा first taste of fame, I had to tell you this is a story. मेरा पहला
नया पानी दूँ?
नहीं नया ठीक है वो ले लूँगा मैं.
तो मेरी first film release हुई तेलुगु में, ऊहलू गुसु गुसलाटे. It was a massive hit.
Sorry Raashi.
It's like a cult film. It was a hit.
इनको tissue दे दो if that helps.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
तो वो फिल्म आने के बाद ना मुझे नहीं पता था कितने फैंस हैं, क्या है एंड एवरीथिंग. तो तिरुपति में कुछ सारी ओपनिंग, कुछ शॉप, मेरा पहला शॉप ओपनिंग थी. तो ठीक है मैं जाती हूँ. मैं गाड़ी में थी और मैं कह रही हूँ इतनी भीड़ क्या है, ये यहाँ क्यों है, ये इतने लोग क्यों हैं. आई वॉज जेन्युइनली वेरी अनअवेयर ऑफ ऐसा होता है. पूरी रोड ब्लॉक थी. आई वॉज वेरी सरप्राइज. आई वॉज एक्चुअली शॉक्ड. और उस दिन क्या हुआ, तो हम यू नो वी हैव एक्सटेंशंस इन आवर हेयर, लाइक आई डोंट नो इफ पीपल नो दिस, बट वो बोला अच्छे घने बाल दिखने के लिए वी हैव एक्सटेंशंस.
You put it in front of the camera. So sorry. ये लो, आप इसको हैंडल कर लोगे?
बिल्कुल कर लेंगे सर, ये मेरे घर में भी है.
अच्छा ठीक है. Yes.
तो
extensions.
हम एज एक्टर्स वी हैव एक्सटेंशंस. ये सुंदर सुंदर बाल दिखते हैं हमारे, इतने लंबे लंबे. एंड it was to a point where my extensions had come out. What I was wearing was torn. My manager's left hand was gone. Like टूट गया उसका हाथ. They weren't
Fracture हो गया.
Fracture हो गया. एक का पैर टूट गया. To handle the crowd, and I was so, I thought I would, you know what, it had a very negative impact on me that day because I was like, I will never do this again is what I felt.
Yeah.
Because मुझे लगा यार उस टाइम ना समझ नहीं आती है. When you're in that situation, you're just panicking because everyone around you is like
It's not a
dying to
normal
protect
situation. We're not trained for this. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't trained for it at all, and I didn't know ऐसा होता है. So I was sitting there and I was just in shock, and they were wanting me to talk something, and I was so upset because I was like, people are hurt, you know, and I know that वो जो बहुत बड़े एक्टर्स होते हैं वो तो बाहर ही नहीं निकलते हैं because you know there are
तो stampede
crazy
हो जाता है
stories
फिर
that I've heard that वो कभी I shouldn't get there, but there are crazy stories about
Stampedes are a very common occurrence.
So then I was like मैं कभी नहीं करूँगी, and then they were like नहीं, we'll make sure that you know the security is. That was my first taste with fame. It was a horrible experience is what I felt at that time. Now I've accepted it कि हाँ अभी यही है, अभी बस ज़्यादा सिक्योरिटी लेके जाओ, मेक श्योर नोबडी गेट्स हर्ट. देन देयर आर पुलिस आती है वहाँ पे, बाउंसर्स आते हैं, उनको भी फ़ोटो चाहिए होती है, हम दे देते हैं. लेकिन आई हैव मेड पीस विद इट नाउ. या
How wonderful, how strange.
आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल फॉर दिस एक्सपीरियंस बिकॉज सबको नहीं मिलता है
नहीं
देखने के
मिलता.
लिए.
0.1% लोग हैं इस पूरी दुनिया में जिनको ये मिलता है.
Correct.
And because I know her, as I said, you know, she's very grateful for it. I see her lips very silently move in a very gratifying thanks every time she goes through something like this.
Okay, I have two different questions for you. Then I'll let you guys go. We ran over time. I'm so sorry about that.
दोनों भी loving it. हमें पता ही नहीं था कि ओवर टाइम हो गया.
ठीक है. तो फिर हम greedily आधे घंटे और कर सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
आपने बोला you journal a lot, right? You talked about paper and pen. So मैं इससे पहले ना before I started my podcast. And of course achieved so much fame and success like I was a writing YouTuber in the pandemic because I just come back from Boston and I learned how to write online, short pithy tweets, short essays, and I was teaching that to people. So the first video that I made was called Free Writing. It's this Julia Cameron, this woman who's written the book The Artist's Way, where she says in order to relieve yourself of the neuroses in your head, you must write 3 pages in the morning, unstructured, और पेपर पे आपको पेन लगा के रखना है, हटाना नहीं है, ग्रामर के लिए नहीं चेक करना, स्ट्रक्चर के लिए नहीं, जज नहीं करना उसको. And it's just a way to sort of clear all the fog in your head. So you're sort of ready for an actual writing session. This is something that people like Ed Sheeran also call clearing the sludge. Like you do a bunch of nonsensical shit before, you can actually do the actual craft part.
It's the warm-up.
The warm-up.
Yeah.
So you said you journal. तो बहुत सारी ये एक ऑडियंस होती है, जो बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं, वो like die hard journaling fans and what not. What do you do this writing for when you journal?
To defog.
That's it. क्या कुछ भी लिखते हो?
I mean, what things that I can't talk about, things that I really want to talk about, experiences that I want to remember, which I know I will forget with time. Things that I felt good about, bad about, a thought that has crossed my mind. It could be anything. So there is definitely a structure, but when I'm right at it, there is no structure. So I don't follow that exercise to not lift the pen. But now, because of technology, what I do is I voice record. So my voice recording process, which could be a 5-minute or a 7-minute thing, could be in the car, could be when I'm sitting on my commode, or could be just waking up in the middle of the sleep and just sort of wanting to make sure that I remember it, a dream that I've seen. I wake up, वो snap उठ पाता हूँ मैं, वो मैंने condition कर लिया है अपने आप को अब. आगे
You write down your dreams?
Not write down my dreams, but I voice record my dreams. मतलब मान लो कभी ऐसा एक कमाल का सपना आया है कोई, तो I have conditioned myself in a way कि मैं फट से उठ के उसको voice record करके वापस हो जाता हूँ.
You have it psychoanalyzed या ऐसी खुद के लिए?
नहीं यार, वो खुद के लिए है.
अच्छा.
खुद के लिए है, because I think कि हम सबकी लाइफ में भी because of technology could be a part of it, and again in some ways it has been documented that technology is a part of it. हम सबकी लाइफ में ना memory fade बहुत है.
True.
बहुत memory fade है. There are huge chunks of our life which we don't remember.
Yeah.
And I don't want that happening to me, because I know it is happening to me. तो वो मैं करता हूँ. तो मैं वॉइस रिकॉर्ड करता हूँ. कमिंग बैक टू द मेन थिंग, मैं वॉइस रिकॉर्ड करता हूँ, और हफ्ते में 1-2 दिन जब टाइम मिलता है, कभी 2 दिन होता है, कभी 4 दिन होता है, पर 1-2 दिन तो मैं निकाल लेता हूँ. तो उन वॉइस रिकॉर्डिंग्स को मैं लिखता हूँ फिर अच्छी हैंड राइटिंग में, फिर जिनको मुझे आइटैलिक्स में लिखना है, जिनको
आई थिंक
बोल्ड में
आजकल
लिखना है.
लोगों में उतना पेशेंस नहीं है.
मतलब ये तो बड़ा एलैबोरेट प्रोसेस है, जैसे वो हथौड़ी हंसो स्वॉर्ड बनाता है.
मेरे स्टडी पे द फर्स्ट थिंग ऑन माई आई लाइन जो मैंने लिख के रखा है वो ये है, प्लीज राइट मोर, इट मेक्स यू फील बेटर एंड कामर.
I have to add something to this. तो इसी ने मुझे बोला था कि तू जर्नल लिखनी शुरू कर. लास्ट ईयर दिसंबर में वो शूटिंग, ही सेड न्यू ईयर रेजोल्यूशन बना, जर्नल लिखना शुरू कर. एंड आई रिमेंबर हैविंग अ कन्वर्सेशन विद हिम एंड देयर वाज अनदर फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन, एंड मैंने उस जर्नल में वो चीज़ें लिखनी शुरू करी जो द कॉन्वर्सेशंस दैट आई हैव विद पीपल व्हिच लीव एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन मी, जो शायद मुझे वैसे याद नहीं रहती. But now when I read it again, it comes back to me. And this is beautiful thing that I've read that I'd like to share. I was talking to this friend of mine who I think is very quite wise.
Yeah.
So I remember having a conversation where I said, I've reached that place in my life where I'm very still. Like, I'm just like very calm. And I don't feel happiness or sadness intensely, When there is something very happy, I'm not very happy or ecstatic. And when there's something sad, I'm not very sad. So have I become emotionless? Is this stillness that? And is that what I need to achieve? Because I'm very still and there's no intensity. And then he just said, stillness is also an intensity and you're living that.
That's true.
And it blew my mind. And
Yeah.
that's why I say that when he told me कि भाई
Are you
journal
talking
कर.
about Bodhi?
No. Ranjan sir.
अच्छा, Ranjan sir, yes, Ranjan
So,
sir said this, yes.
So I think it was, you should write anytime, even if not on a daily occurrence of what's happening, anything that has struck a chord with you. And I'm not talking about Instagram quotes that we see, but conversations, that you
Sure.
have, you should keep them, because you can go back to them and you will forget. There is memory fog. As he said, it's a very real thing. You'll forget things, and I forget things and what I've been told or whatever. And this just helps you.
Or just a thought that, all of us are playing so many different roles in life. There are so many things that I actually want to say, but I can't. Or there are things that I feel that I do not want to share with my family because I know it will bother them. वो लिखना ज़रूरी है. और
नहीं तो वो रह
larger
जाता है।
idea ये है कि I think I've had a very blessed life. I think I've had a very unusual life. For example, a boy wanting to be an actor is an actor. I think I've been blessed enough to touch all the
Those
things or
chords.
touch and feel and experience things that I always aspired to. I want to share that with the world. So क्या पता आगे चल के 60-70 की उम्र में मैं शायद एक अच्छी किताब लिखूं, पर वो अनफिल्टर्ड होगा फिर.
Of course, I think, when people rush to write books as a promotional tool to accentuate their influence, ऐसा बड़ा प्रस्ताव आता है कि यार आप बैठे बैठे ना इस पे एक किताब लिख दो. Especially publishing houses will do this when they see that you've got some understanding of this. And I always think you should be moved to write a book, especially if it's a memoir of your life. It should not be like कि अब मैं बीच में ही लिखना शुरू कर दूंगा, हाँ जी जो भी चल रहा है. You should be so moved that it should arrest your life in the middle, and then all you write is that book.
So I've never shared this with anyone. I'm just 37. मैंने एक्चुअली ठीक है 2-4 फिल्में मेरी चली हैं, पीपल रिस्पेक्ट मी फॉर द वर्क दैट आई डू और वट एवर इम्पैक्ट आई हैड ऑन देयर लाइफ. 2 साल पहले 2 years ago, this is before 12th fail, and the same thing happened again after 12th fail. There were a couple of people who wanted to write a book on me, on my life. I said, that's really kind of you, but I don't think I deserve a book yet. I mean, there's so much more. There is so much more that I am yet to achieve or probably experience in life कि अभी मुझे नहीं लगता है कि, and it was a very lucrative offer. When people want to write a book on you, a biography on you, they want to spend time with you. And again, when it comes to, branding or sort of, positioning yourself, it's a great thing. But I don't think it would justify what it should be right now.
Right.
तो मैंने फ्लैटली 2 बार मना कर दिया. तो शायद मैं खुद की किताब लिखूंगा और सारा पैसा मैं खुद लेना चाहता हूँ.
Of course, as you must. Yeah. Then you would have to say, oh, I also became a dad, and then 12th fail happened. उसका part 2, sir और जियो 10 साल, फिर उसके बाद part 2 आएगा. Yeah, it's I'm very happy that both of you are readers, and I think it's very important to read and write in a world full of noise. The default behavior is to scroll. Because मैंने अभी एक पॉल ग्राहम का ऐसे लिखा, ऐसे पढ़ा, to write is to think. You were mentioning ChatGPT earlier.
Yeah.
If you
to write is to think, and I read a lot of Paul Graham's Instagram quotes.
Oh, you do?
Sorry, Twitter quotes. He's very very active, far more active on Twitter if I'm not wrong.
Right, correct.
तो वो मैं पढ़ के सेव भी करता हूँ अपने फोन पे. Yeah, so again, sort of probably, I'm sorry I interjected, but I think to write is to actually think.
Yeah.
वो defog जो हम कह रहे हैं. I think all of it is connected. Sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah, and yet at the same time, it's so funny. I know you've mentioned Osho a bunch in your interviews with Ashdeen Doctor at least. He never wrote. So there's an entire, इसकी सारी की सारी किताबें और लोगों ने लिखी हैं verbatim, right?
Yeah.
Just to put it out there, like I've been reading Courage by Osho. I really like the book. मेरा मन ही नहीं करता काम करने का, surrender करने, अपने आप होना शुरू हो जाता है.
Oh yeah.
But is there anything about him that you sort of follow in your life that strikes out to you as awesome?
I think it's very difficult to follow Osho in your life.
Okay, why?
He just may blow your mind because there is so much of societal conditioning that's very difficult to get rid of that conditioning and start following what Osho says. There is a lot that you could take from him also. And the fact that he also, by the end of all his books, says you surrender. Surrender does not mean घर पे बैठ जाओ सब होगा. What people may think. Surrender means you don't attach yourself to the fruits of your labor. Right? You just do things because you love them. And you surrender to the universe, whether or not it works for you. Because even if it doesn't work for you, there is a lesson there. Right? So surrendering is the best thing you can do to yourself. And that is my takeaway from Osho. And that's what my guru says as well. Surrender. It's very difficult, but try doing that. It's the thing that will bring you the most peace in your life. Yeah.
Okay. My mom said the same thing this morning. She said, "तू बहुत interrupt करता है, बस भगवान का बोलना, surrender and let go." I was like, oh shit. And I actually did that. And that's why it's been such a treat to speak to both of you.
Oh, likewise.
And
Same.
you've been, again, very, very accessible, very chill. And I'm so glad that हम picture के अलावा और भी बातें कर पाए. And I'm very excited to watch the film. In fact,
Please do.
Please watch our
I
film.
will, text one of your many posse manager armies of
नहीं,
people.
You can take our
and-
numbers.
मैं वही
It's
Yeah,
fine.
and actually show you that I was there. I'll take some friends because I really respect जब actors इतने लंबे चौड़ी promotional महागाथा पे चलते हैं, जब वो promotional रथ यात्रा निकाल देते हैं. और अभी आपकी ये शुरुआत हुई है. This is what day 3, day 4 of promotions, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Day 4.
Yeah, it's going to get more intense by the
Yes.
day, by the
Yes.
release day.
Yes.
So glad I caught you in the early days of your campaigning.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
it's lovely
Thank you so
talking
much
to
for being
you.
such a lovely host. And
ऐसा लगा 3 दोस्त बैठ के
Yeah.
ना बात कर रहे हैं.
So glad.
Yes.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And once again, people can watch Sabarmati Report, the Sabarmati Report in cinemas.
On 15th of November in theaters near you.
Yes.
Watch it only on theater, only in theaters, please.
This was Vikrant Massey. This was Vikrant Massey and Raashi Khanna.
Yeah.
And I will see you all on the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Sayonara.
Bye,
Jai
guys.
Hind.